of my.
If we could get your camera positioned so that if you could just move that way to your left a little bit.
Move
a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more. Go the other way. Go the other way. A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more.
You're trying to get me out of frame completely.
I'm just trying to optimize here. Okay, it's hard to run a podcast. I'm trying to optimize. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the JRPG Pursuit Podcast, your JRPG podcast for all things JRPGs. I'm Branden.
I'm Abdallah.
And I'm Emily.
And we are excited to be here with you today talking about one of, if not, dare I say, the greatest JRPG consoles of all time. What is that?
What is it? Is it
Dalla?
It's the Switch.
It's the Nintendo Switch. It's the Nintendo Switch.
The one and only.
The one and only.
For now, at least, until we get that second one. The only Switch
then there'll be the one and only
Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Well, luckily it's
and
backwards
then the,
compatible.
One and only Switch 3 someday.
Yeah.
And, it's, we just recently live streamed what I think is the final Nintendo Switch Direct.
Yeah,
so I think, end of an era, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that got us feeling nostalgic. So we wanted to sit down and talk about some of the best JRPGs on the Switch. These are objective statements of fact, and there's no room for disagreement. So remember that when you start writing your comment, okay? Because this is the facts. We're just spitting facts.
Only facts here.
Only facts allowed.
That's all I know.
Before we dive into that, I just want to real quick thank all the members of the YouTube channel. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for supporting the show and for joining us in the Discord. And we just had the community event last week or this weekend when we're recording this with Xenoblade X, and that was a lot of fun. I was on there for like 6 hours, and it was great.
It was a lot of fun. I didn't want to get off.
Yeah. So we had a great time with everybody. Thanks for showing up. If you would be interested in getting access to the Discord, getting bonus videos every week, check out the membership. We would love to have you join us. That's all I have to say about that. Should we talk about a little bit of the upcoming Switch news that we got from that Direct?
Yeah, I think we could touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, there's some exciting
topical
JRPGs. Yeah, that will be released within this year.
Yeah.
I've seen some people that were disappointed by it, and I got to say, I don't share that sentiment. I was, was it the greatest Direct ever? Probably not. It wasn't the best, but I think it was.
No,
it was pretty good. I thought
the opening was great, personally.
The opening in particular,
the first three
games, boom, boom, boom. My jaw was on the floor. You guys saw, if you watched the live stream, you saw I was just like gobsmacked by this stuff.
Branden was freaking out. It was pretty
losing
intense.
my mind.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, I maybe should have just taken a chill pill, but it's just still very exciting. So what did we have? We had Dragon Quest 1 and 2.
Yep.
The HD 2D remake.
Yeah.
Looking
finally
pretty
showing us some gameplay.
We get some actual gameplay.
Yeah. Looks great.
Our intrepid heroes, the horned helmet guy from Dragon Quest 1. I like him a lot.
I was hoping we get
the flight goggles guy for some reason. Everybody's wearing flight goggles in that game.
I love flight goggles as an aesthetic. That's
just an accessory.
Yeah, it's so good.
It doesn't have to serve a function.
It doesn't need to. And
I don't think you fly in that game.
Do.
It's been a few years.
They keep the bugs out of the eyes. That's why they have goggles.
That's true.
Yeah.
No matter what you're flying or just walking around.
Just walking around. These bugs are dumb. They don't know. They're not dodging.
You're there just to vibe. They're there just to vibe.
Exactly.
I really appreciate that.
I really wish they had like an exact release date. I know the vague 2025. Okay.
It seems strange. They're using the same engine, I'm assuming, as DQ3. So I would have to think that the game is more or less done, right? Pretty close.
I would hope.
Emily has a theory.
I have a feeling.
Let's see.
When it comes next week with the Switch 2, reveal and everything, Square Enix has something they're excited to share. So I imagine they're trying to time it with that.
Okay.
And not, have so many back-to-back releases that get overlooked like they did a few years ago.
That was the dark times, but also brought us some really great games. So it's kind of
good games, but
So we'll get that Final Fantasy IX remake next week. All right, thanks, Emily. You heard it from Emily. You heard it from Emily. Confirmation.
Final Fantasy IX remaster confirmed.
There you go.
Thanks, Orbalology. That's great. So now you're on the hook for that. That's good. We had the first Rido game remastered, the Soulless Army. That's pretty cool.
It looks great.
It looks really nice.
Yeah.
It does look really good, right? It looks
compared
like
to
more than just
more
than just a spit polish kind of thing.
It looks like more of a remake, almost. Honestly,
it really
just
does.
at least like a graphical remake and probably some like actual combat game,
like a Xenoblade 1 definitive kind of thing, right? Where it's just significant.
Exactly. So
I'm excited. Some quality of life features because we don't want that too much of that PS2 jank.
I can't handle that anymore. I'm spoiled.
Exactly. And everyone needs to buy that so we can get the rest of the games in that series. Yeah,
buy the Rido remaster, everybody. I'm sure you're gonna have a good time with it, but also there's another Rido game we'd like to have. And I'm kind of surprised, not to diminish what Rido is. It's a great thing that they're doing. I'm kind of surprised Digital Devil Saga wasn't ahead of that in line.
I agree.
Maybe they wanted to diversify the offering because it's Rido's an action RPG and Digital Devil Saga.
They're trying to go off a metaphor, and everyone was excited with that new kind of action combat. So they're like, we actually have this other action game that we kind of forgot about, but here it is.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, they riding the hype train of metaphor.
Yeah, that's true.
So looking forward to Rido. I think I'm going to sell my copy of Rido while the getting's good.
Oh, I mean,
that thing's expensive.
Yeah,
it's expensive.
Did you get the one with the plush?
No. Okay. I just had just the game by itself.
Yeah.
I did look, and I was like,
that one's.
I did not do it. Yeah. But even the game by itself it's a lot of money.
Yes.
So I'm sure it'll go down once the new game's out, right?
That's what I'm saying. Is I gotta get it while the getting's good. And then we have Saga Frontier 2.
Saga Frontier 2, yes.
Which I want to just say again that I willed into existence.
You did.
Having just talked about it in a video on my channel like a week and a half before that direct. And saying I don't know if they'd even be able to remaster this game. Like, do they have the water? Because it's all watercolor paintings. I don't know if you've seen this game before, but it's gorgeous. It's like watercolor paintings for all the backgrounds. It's just beautiful. And either they used some AI upscaling or they had the original watercolors somewhere that they could scan at a higher resolution or something, because it looks great.
Yeah, because
happened. They just shadow dropped it.
Here it is. It's done.
I need to watch the trailer again because I feel like the art didn't look like it's AI enhanced, in terms of how Final Fantasy 9 or
it looked just like the original, like you would expect it to look.
So I'm need to look back at that, but
maybe they did have all that, which is rare for a game of that vintage, right?
I know,
actually have the stuff.
Right.
The Saga team must be really passionate about keeping their hard drives near them.
I tell you, meticulous, probably.
The Saga developers and the Saga fans. I don't exactly count myself among them, but I know that they are very passionate about the series.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm not a big fan is because I'm bad at video games. So you have that over me, Saga fans, for sure.
That's true. That's true.
What else? I mean, was that kind of it as far as straight up JRPGs?
A Fantasy Life, technically adjacent.
Oh, they did. Yeah, they did. The sizzle reel.
Yeah, you got a little bit of that in there.
The girl that steals time.
Yes.
She keeps stealing these months from us as it's delayed.
It made an appearance. Because it used to be a Nintendo exclusive, and then they expanded after all the delays. So I'm surprised Nintendo wasn't a little upset with Level 5 there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's how they demoted them to the sizzle reel.
That's probably
they
why.
don't get any more. I feel like Nintendo's got to be we've given you enough spotlight time now. Put the game out already.
Yeah, exactly.
Put up or shut up, guys.
Yeah. We're over.
They
this.
also have other games in the works that I'm assuming will be Nintendo exclusive.
I don't know because we've been seeing a lot of games come out initially on Nintendo. One that we probably should talk about that was featured on the Direct, the new AI game.
Yes.
But later on, we might see something on PlayStation or elsewhere. Though, to be fair, the new AI game, Somnia Files, is also on Steam. So it's not a Nintendo exclusive.
Yeah, exactly.
Console exclusive to Nintendo. I'm surprised / confused by that.
Spike Chunsoft has done this, though. They did it with the Ring Code. Yeah. So we'll see.
I can't wait. And the problem is I want to have them all on the same system because I have the AI games. They're right here on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
I can't have a Switch game.
I got them on Switch, so
you're good. You're good.
I just purchased the PS4 version of the first game because I have it digitally on the Switch that I bought like on sale when I was playing it. And I was like, you know what? I want to get the physical version of this. So I just picked that up when I was picking up Ryza 2.
You got to get the physical because physical games, you can give them a hug.
That's true.
That's the nice thing about a physical game is you can give it a hug.
And I hug my games, weekly just to make sure
I go around this room and I hug every single one of these video games every night before bed.
Yeah. Little smoochy kisses.
No, well, if they are okay with it, I'm not pushing it.
Well, I would suggest that you support it physically on Switch, and if it comes out later on PlayStation,
I'm going to. That's the only reason I'm griping about it is because I'm going to do that.
Oh, yeah.
If I wasn't going to buy it, I would just be like, I'll wait.
You gotta support these games. They're so niche.
I love them so much. I love Uchikoshi.
Yeah. I gotta think.
Imagine him designing an RPG.
Yes. I gotta think, honestly, it was Emily that got me to play this game. It's one of it's been a fun time. I'm almost done with it.
Good.
It's been on the back burner since I started some other games. But going back to
got a lot of balls in the air right now, my friend.
I have way too many.
You got Daybreak. You got
Xenoblade.
Did you ever finish Metaphor?
Yes, I did finish Metaphor.
You did finish Metaphor.
This year, I have not finished a game yet because they're all just dangling up in the air somewhere, they're all coming out back to back, and then you have Claire Obscura coming out. And so I just need to finish a game before that period. So there's got to be one game I can finish. So I don't know. We'll see.
Just pick the shortest one and go from there.
Yeah, work your way up.
I like too many long games that I have on my list.
Take an extended leave of absence from work and just plow through.
I just need to I'll tell them that I need to go on sabbatical to play JRPGs.
Finish your backlog.
So I'm sure they'll understand.
Of course.
They'll understand, so it's fine.
That's the one thing about corporate America you can count on is that they're very understanding.
Oh, yeah.
So Kaname Date,
I'm
Sleep
excited.
for Kaname Date or whatever is AI, baby. Come on. Even though Uchikoshi didn't write this one, I still am excited about it. I'm sure he has his hand in it in some way. So
he's, I think, already mentioned that he oversaw it. So
he oversaw it.
Okay, that's good at least.
Good. And if we support this, he gets more opportunities to make cool stuff. So
exactly. And outside of that, I don't think there was really there's the Pokemon game was announced, which is, had a trailer for that. Which is technically all I know is I did win the bet. We weren't betting on anything specific, but we did go, it was over under on 2 and we did. And there was three JRPGs.
It was 3. Mm-hmm.
They were.
Yep. There you go. Yep. I won nothing, but I feel good. I feel good about it.
I guess you got this moment right here on the podcast to brag about it. That's your reward.
This is it. So
hope you've enjoed it.
Not at all, actually.
No, it's very unfulfilling.
Well, you brought it up, so
I thought I would feel better about it, but no, it's anticlimactic. It was not great, so I regret it. We'll edit this out.
Yeah, it's all gone. You're not even hearing this, everybody. No. So
it's to clear.
So shall we?
This. Okay. We should move on.
Let's talk about some
highlights.
Stuff.
Previous games that have already been released on the Nintendo Switch, and just talk about really our favorite JRPGs that just make the system such a JRPG, magnet.
Yeah,
and a juggernaut.
And I think, Branden, you had a good way to put it is we can go through kind of the different publishers.
I thought it would be an interesting way to, not interesting, but just a way to be thorough about, making sure we don't overlook anybody.
Exactly.
Just kind of go by publisher. And, I put Square Enix on there first because they're gigantic.
They're prolific as on the Switch.
Yeah.
They certainly have supported the Switch more than any console that they've ever, I think. Is that, I don't want to.
Compared to PS1 era.
I'm wondering, compared to some of the PlayStation consoles, if they supported the Switch more, technically. I would be curious. I think
it's safe to say, out of all the publishers on the Switch, they've been one of the best in the JRPG space.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, they have.
Yes.
They brought us some, not just like heavy hitters like you would expect, but a lot of really out of nowhere kind of surprise games. Like the first one I was gonna talk about is the Live Alive HD 2D remake. This, I mean,
taking that from the vault.
What a crazy thing to be like. We're doing this now, all of a sudden. And I remember I think it was at a Direct, right? Where they announced this, and it was just completely out of nowhere. Who has even thought about Live Alive? I mean, I think people that experienced it probably have been thinking about it, but most of us in the West, I knew it existed, but I didn't think about it. So, but it ended up being a fantastic game, right? Like,
oh yeah, I love that game.
I'm sure it has something to do with, like, I'm sure those types of games, they've already built the engine, so it's not, they're maybe less expensive for them to produce. That's great. I think that's fantastic. Game development needs to get better about that. Games don't need to cost $10 billion. But yeah, like, we got some really interesting stuff like that. So,
yeah, I agree. I was like super shocked when that game was announced. I was like, what? Like, who has thought about that? Yeah.
Live Alive, baby.
Live Alive.
And using that HD 2D, engine, we got so many great games from Square Enix using that.
Yeah.
That way to bring back nostalgia, I would say, in a lot of the turn-based games.
Yeah. Especially like the grandfather of all that is Octopath Traveler. That was a Switch,
Yes.
Originally a Switch exclusive at first. And that was a great way to kind of like, even like a precursor to bringing Live Alive out, because it's kind of like the same kind of thought process.
It's on Steam, but is it still only console? It's the only console it's on is Switch,
physically,
right?
It's only on Switch. It's on PlayStation, like digitally.
Oh, you can download it digitally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And it's on Xbox as well, digitally, I think, now as well.
I mean, I think that's smart. I'm kind of, frankly, surprised that they didn't physically release it on everything. But I mean, like, it does such a great job, that style. And I know it's kind of been played a lot at this point, but especially in the early days, it did such a great job of evoking nostalgia in a way that like is respectful to the rose tinted glasses that we wear.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
I think it really revitalized the genre too.
Yeah. Giving us turn-based games that are much more traditional.
I saw so much coverage from people who don't play like JRPGs talk about Octopath Traveler. They were so curious about the art style and how beautiful it was. They wanted to give it a try.
Because it's also like nostalgic to a lot of people, like just grew up, maybe not necessarily with JRPGs all the time, but they remember certain JRPGs from the SNES era, or just that pixel art style, and that cool like HD 2D version of that at the time was just like, it was just interesting to a lot of different people.
It was cool too, is they're actually making a double pack.
Yes.
There's an Asian English of Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 combined. That's going to be coming out physically very soon.
Is both games on the cartridge?
I don't know if that's been confirmed, but
we'll want to confirm that, but that's cool.
See.
If so,
that'd be amazing.
Asian English releases tend to have larger carts. That's why Final Fantasy X and X-2. In the West, they was just digital code for X-2, but if you got the Asian English version, they used a larger cartridge size.
Yeah, they seem to know they can't rely on necessarily having the best internet. And
that's true.
There's the consumer demand, I think, is just, they were a little bit better about it than we were. We're just all, sure, download 10 gigabytes every time I want to play my game.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah, so true.
It's cheaping it out.
Yeah.
And
smaller cart.
Speaking of Final Fantasy X, like, can you imagine that we can play like almost all the mainline like Final Fantasy games on the Switch?
All of the JRPG Final Fantasies are there. I mean, except all of the
up to 12.
15. not 15.
Up to 12, let's say.
And not
minus
13,
11.
Yeah.
And minus 11. Up to 12 and minus 11.
That's why I specified JRPG, because there's two MMORPGs and one action game in the Final Fantasy series, but all of the JRPGs are accounted for up to 12, which is really, really crazy.
Incredible. Like the fact that you can just like have one system.
Yeah. And just bringing back these 1 through 6, I think by itself, using the pixel remaster art style, I thought was really such a smart call for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only on the Switch, of course, but it was nice to have this available physically.
Yeah.
I have the Asian English here as well after their whole fiasco of, having that very limited release.
I was the only person in the country that was able to get the ESRB. And I'm sorry to everybody that, I took your game, and I feel bad about it, but
at least I have the inside cover art. Much
That's true. That is
okay,
nice.
Don't rub it in. Okay. I got some really important legal text. Okay.
So important.
It says limited warranty. Okay. You don't know what the limited warranty is. If that ever comes up, you're just out of luck.
It's true.
The lenticular cover, right? Did you get the case?
No. Or did I? No, I don't think I did.
I thought that was the exclusive for the Square Enix store. So I had assumed all of those had
maybe I did. Case. I don't know. It's been a while.
See, those get lost. And then what I do with all mine, because they don't look nice on the shelf usually, I just stick it behind all my games.
Yeah.
So I don't
it may actually be behind my games on these cubes somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, very well represented.
Yes.
While we're talking about, re-releases or remasters or whatever, it's worth talking about Chrono Cross.
Yes.
The Radical Dreamers edition. If for no other reason, like the remaster's fine, it's a remastered Chrono Cross. But if for no other reason, then we got an officially localized Radical Dreamers for the first time.
Yep.
Not technically really a JRPG, kind of a text-based adventure with some turn-based combat, kind of, sort of.
Same world, right?
Yeah,
world
but
building.
it's a sequel to Chrono Trigger, and it was like this fabled thing for so long, right? Like, you hear about it, and maybe you play the ROM or something on your computer. But yeah, actually being able to sit down and play it in an official capacity, I was like, holy cow, this is crazy. Like 16-year-old Branden would have lost his mind to know that this is coming 25 years down the road. You're going to play this game. It's
wild that that was a thing that they decided to do. Like, it was like they didn't have to add that.
They definitely didn't.
They could have just bare minimum just brought that game out and just stuck remaster on it and just left it at that. But it's nice. It's a nice touch.
It is.
Yes. And we talked about Dragon Quest earlier. So that was also, I would say, fairly represented, at least for the spin-off titles. But the main game was having Dragon Quest 11, the definitive edition, come out. And have that be, at the time, I think a Switch exclusive. It's since been brought to other consoles and places. But it was so cool to, play that game on the Switch.
Yeah, I wish that I'd played it with the orchestral music, because that was the main benefit to me. Was like, they don't have the crappy MIDI sounds that he insisted on because he wanted to sell records. I'm sorry, you're not supposed to speak ill of the dead, but I'm not a fan of his business practices. But it was cool to go from 3D also to 2D in this. I didn't do too much of the 2D when I was playing, but it was cool to have that option, of course. Yeah, I imagine with a certain segment of the audience, that was a popular feature, to be able to play the whole game as a 16-bit kind of thing.
Which is pretty cool. One day I'll maybe do it, but
maybe I
haven't done it yet.
Yeah, just in that.
It is very cool that you could do that, though. That's a crazy addition to that. I've never seen that done.
Yeah. They brought us the first 3 games mobile ports on the Switch as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Those are not super beloved for, I think, obvious reasons. They look, in
really
my
bad.
opinion, terrible. I'm sure they play fine, but they're, they don't look great.
The menus are really it's a mobile menu. It's not. Yeah, I don't like those. Yeah.
But fortunately, we have the Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D.
Yep.
On the Switch as well. And we already talked about 1 and 2 coming. So those games will be properly represented on the Switch before it's all said and done. I'm hopeful that they will continue doing 4, 5, and 6 and 7 at least. I feel like all of those would be a good fit for that style.
Oh yeah,
maybe for the Switch too. They'll do that.
Maybe
yeah.
Bring it on, guys. Keep it going. Make those games accessible, because the DS, it's not everybody has a working DS.
No,
the games are extremely expensive.
Yep.
It would be great to have all of them playable, at least playable, but ideally remastered or remade. For
no
the
mobile
Switch.
Ports, please.
Yes, no more of that. Have we?
No.
I think
we moved away
reached
from that.
The end of that era of gross mobile ports of games.
I hope so.
I'd imagine so, because there hasn't been any new ones lately. There's been ports to mobile of games that were remade or remastered
that are console, or PC games or whatever.
Because you have the pixel remasters on.
They started out on PC or on mobile, and PC.
They did.
Yeah, and so they're designed for both in mind. Where you the Chrono Trigger mobile game, that was really bad at first, and then they brought it over to Steam and it fixed it up.
Yeah. Well, the most recent mobile game, which I guess technically wasn't just mobile, but you could play it on an iPad or something, was the Fantasian, right? The Neo Fantasian.
Yes.
But they added more to it, but that was technically a mobile game, right?
And at the time, it wasn't Square Enix.
It was just, it was Miss Walker self-published, I'm assuming.
Exactly.
So I guess, Fantasian's worth a mention too. We get a full console release of
Sakaguchi
what was Sakaguchi's last game, but not anymore. I guess he's doing another one. So I'd love it if he kept going.
Honestly, I'm excited to see what he does next. I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
But I mean, Branden does a game that you need to mention at some point. So
I know. I'm surprised it hasn't been brought up yet.
Well, I was saving it for last.
I wasn't going to take it for you. Okay.
And you all know.
This be our last Square Enix game?
Oh,
then?
Absolutely. This is the last one we're going to talk about today. And that is, of course, Bravely Default 2.
There you go.
Bravely Default 2.
I had the right one up there.
Bravely Default 2 is great, by the way. If you haven't played it, it's a fantastic.
Also, another great game.
It's great because it's another one of those Octopath that's kind of using the old. It's more Final Fantasy. If you like classic Final Fantasy, Bravely Default and Octopath are that's what classic Final Fantasy is now, is those series. So
it's very those out. 3 adjacent type kind of situation where you're doing a lot of job system,
a lot of job switching and
Yeah, it's a lot of it's fun.
It is a good it's a good, very good game. Yeah. I really liked Bravely Default 2, but yes, of course, Harvestella.
There you go.
It's
Where's my
one of my favorite games. It's still exclusive console wise to the Switch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Crazy that they didn't bring this to other machines. I would have
physically.
Physically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Steam has it digitally. Steam has it digitally.
Or even digitally. If they would bring it out on PS5 digitally,
I wish.
I would do it. I'd buy it again.
It looked really nice, probably.
The weird thing, even the Steam version, you cannot change the graphical settings.
Oh, really?
So
they just they just ported it.
It is just a straight. I mean, it plays better because it's just a more powerful system. Yeah, the slowdowns are not as bad, but you can't really change it much unless you do some weird hacks. I don't know.
Right, but if you are if you've listened to this show or watched any of my YouTube stuff, you've heard me talk about Harvestella. You probably know. I love it. It's just a beautiful game.
It's just an experience,
in so many ways.
I would say
it is. Yeah. It's more than the sum of its parts, because if you zero in on a specific element of the game, you might be the combat's kind of
serviceable at best.
but it's you take it all as a whole, and it just, I don't know, the whole experience resonates.
It surprises you, really. I think that's the big impact part. It surprises you.
Yeah.
You don't expect to like it as much as you do by the end of it. You're just wow, that was incredible.
I've said before, I bought it just because of the soundtrack. I was I'm going to like this soundtrack, so I'm going to get the game. And I did not expect any more from it than that. I thought I'd play it for a couple hours and be it's got good music, but I don't need to play this. But
the soundtrack is amazing, though.
It is.
It is. It's so good.
Man. But that's Square Enix.
Yeah.
quite, and that's not even everything, right? Like we're just picking out the best of the best, but
that's just the highlight of what we think we want to talk about today.
There's so many.
Yeah. There's another one I could have mentioned, which I'm still a little.
I know you're kind of like iffy about in some ways.
I think it's an interesting game on the Switch.
Mm-hmm. I love the battle system to that game too. Like I just like the
triangle strategy, by the way, for audio listeners.
Yes. Right. Triangle strategy. The battle system I enjoyed, like the tactical style of like the terrain being different, like and also like being like up on like certain types of terrains, and like you can have different types of like
the elements and stuff.
Yeah, it's a fun game. It deserves a second chance of like kind of how like Octopath Traveler. It's like the first game is good. It's not perfect, but 2 just like did a lot better with it. So I think
did the formula right, basically. Yeah.
They got like the characters right. They did like a really good way of streamlining like the stories of each of the characters really kind of resonated a lot more for me. But I feel like they could do that with Triangle if they give it a chance. Maybe.
I think they totally could. Maybe someday.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe they'll stop giving their games these terrible names.
Maybe we'll get Square
Strategy.
I was trying to make a Branden joke. I failed at it though.
Wait a minute. Are we going to make that canon in this podcast that a bad joke is a Branden joke? I don't know if I'm okay with that. Well,
it's got to be. It's all. Hey, there you go. Emily is on board.
Well, I guess in a 2 out of 3 situation, you win.
There you go.
Yeah, like I think that they got a little high on their own supply with Octopath Traveler, because I remember in the Switch, it was revealed in the Switch reveal presentation. They showed Octopath Traveler. And I remember they said title not final, because they were like, this is dumb, right? This is stupid. But everybody was like, that is such a good title. Like it's word salad, but it's like got them good croutons in it. You know, and you're like, I just want to munch on it. So like, it's a dumb name, but it sounds good. So they're like, oh, they like our dumb names. Okay. Various Day Life. Get out.
Talk about a bad mobile port.
Bad. Bad. Various Day Life. Quit it. Triangle Strategy was when I first started to see the cracks in the facade of their naming.
I thought that was also going to be like that can't be a
working title, right? Like
also this font. Please fix this font.
Yeah,
we deserve better font.
I do agree. It's
become their signature. It's like just that basic font underlined is that's like what they do now. Bravely Default, same thing.
It is the most uninspiring
Bravely Default. They do the exact same thing.
They need to hire like a better
Oh, I guarantee you they paid tens of thousands of dollars for that design.
I know.
They paid so much money for that logo design.
Mistake.
It's very boring. But I mean, hopefully with the Switch 2, we'll see a little bit better. Well, we'll see.
Maybe they'll shake it up. Maybe they'll hear this podcast and they'll feel bad. They'll get their feelings hurt. And I apologize if you do.
So I'm sorry, Square.
Just being real. Just being true to myself.
It's true.
But we should move on to our next developer.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Next, I think it's Bandai. No, it's Atlas. Sorry, Atlas. Let's talk about Atlas.
We should do Atlas Sega.
Atlas Sega. Yeah.
Atlas Sega.
Which one do we want to talk about first?
Ooh.
Games. Because there's some obvious picks, obviously.
Yeah.
Should we go with a less obvious one?
Give us a less obvious one to begin.
Yeah.
Well, the less obvious one, I would say, would be Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Cool. Yeah.
Exactly. Less obvious.
It's true. Mm-hmm. That is, you hit the nail.
And yeah, this was like an early Switch title too.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people haven't played it. I haven't finished it, but it is quite good for being one of, we don't have too many games in the style of, what do you call this?
It's turn-based strategy, but it's like it has a cover type mechanic where if you pass within a line of sight of an enemy, they get to take free shots at you. I don't know what that's called. Is it XCOM?
It's kind of like, it reminds me of XCOM, but more of because you can physically shoot also as well. Like you can aim and shoot.
Right.
Yeah, there's a term for this, which I'm blanking on,
so
but
it's a little bit more
a strategy RPG, but it's time kind. We should probably look this up. So
Yeah.
we don't sound like we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
No. I mean,
you get us raw and unfiltered here on this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't thought about this game in a long time, so I'm trying to like picture like.
I was just browsing my shelves. I'm like, oh, we need to talk about this because we don't have that many, strategy RPGs in the style, like the XCOM style.
Because I never played the 4. Like I played the first game back in the day on the PS3.
I loved the first game.
Yeah, I loved that game a lot, and I was sad that like the rest of the games, either the second one ended up on the PSP.
I have the second one on PSP, but we never got the third one.
We never got the third one.
Correct.
And then the fourth one came out. So like I was like, yeah.
But they did, I think, bring the first one through limited run games on the Switch recently.
Yes,
I don't think it's been released yet.
The remastered one. Yeah.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, like digitally, it's out, but I think the physical.
Well, there's a physical of the first one on the PS4.
Yes, I think there is.
I think I have it.
Yes. I have the Steelbook version, but they never released a Switch one until recently.
Okay.
When Sega started, pumping out all of their physicals through.
They're moving all of their, at least all their limited run or all their Switch games over to limited run. It seems like.
It does seem like that.
At least their lower quantity.
The more niche ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And
I wonder if that has to do with like the Switch being more expensive to publish for, because that is the case. I'm pretty sure.
Well, Sega has such a weird distribution, policy that they do. They have a ton of games, on release, and then they like heavily discount it like a month later.
Yeah, it's a bad strategy.
Yeah,
I think it's a bad strategy, but they keep doing it, so maybe it works for them.
Hey.
But Limited Run Games also released a new version with a more complete cart.
Oh, did they really? Okay.
I don't have that, because I didn't want to double dip.
Yeah, understandable.
But yeah, no, it's a great series. I hope that they continue it, do something more with it.
Yeah,
I hope so. Because that'd be kind of sad if we would lose another, IP like that.
Even if they just wanted to make other games in the style, if they didn't want to continue Valkyria Chronicles in that world or whatever, I would like to see more, Japanese role-playing games in that style. Like, that's I just thought in particular the first one.
First one has that watercolor-esque style.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is really pretty.
That art style is so nice looking. So like, I really wish they would utilize that again in something.
Yes, please.
I would be all for it. Let's see, another band, another Atlas
Sega.
13 Sentinels.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's like, that's an incredible experience of a game.
Mm-hmm.
And the RPG nature of it is kind of similar to Valkyria Chronicles in a way, because it's a strategy RPG with a twist. And it's more of a kind of tower defense strategy RPG. But I found it a lot of fun. Personally.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I just want to be clear, because I want to say this for people that might be like me that hate the gameplay of 13 Sentinels. I think it's a brilliant game. I hate the gameplay. Valkyria Chronicles is a different type of gameplay. You just mean it's like not your traditional strategy. It's different. Okay. Yeah, that's true. For the gameplay didn't work for me.
It's not grid based like Fire Emblem is what I was trying to distinguish.
Right. It's all. There is also a term for that type. Is real time strategy, right? Like tower defense real time.
Yeah.
This is real time strategy.
Yeah, so it's different in that way too. One of the strange things about 13 Sentinels is how they divide the gameplay and the story up. It's like very clearly divided up in ways that I don't think I've ever seen a game do before. Which is interesting. I don't know whether I cared for that element of it, but it is an interesting choice to basically say, okay, your gameplay's over here and your story's over here. And you can enjoy them kind of however you want up to a point, and then you may need to like clear
the
some
issue
of this.
With that is what I did was I did so much story focus that I kind of kept all the gameplay off to the side, and so then to make progress in the story, I had to do like back-to-back battles, and it got a little exhausting doing that. So I kind of wish they woven it more into the narrative rather than having to decide what you want to do.
Exactly, because I kept following that game made me feel like I wanted to rush through the battle so I can get back to the story itself and not
enjoy the battle.
Exactly. So like the battle system was like, it's not bad. It's serviceable in the context of the game. But at the same time,
I thought it was kind of cool personally because it changed they had new enemies and stuff every single battle. You had to kind of figure out which of your characters to play to have the maximum, support kind of things and bonuses. So I thought that kind of tickled my brain a bit. And there's also different difficulty settings, so you could, make it easier if you didn't like it, harder if you wanted it more challenging. Yeah, you could breeze
through it on easy if you didn't want to do it. Like I have a lot of criticisms about the way they implemented stuff in that game, but it's still is one of my favorite. Like,
story is just
so good.
Yeah, incredible,
so good, y'all.
Really well done, and that's why it was so popular when it came out. Like everyone was just blown away by the story.
Yeah.
So even though it's not like perfect from a gameplay perspective or like how they kind of put things together, just that story just kind of
so good,
just takes it to another level. So
I mean, we might as well stop burying the lead and just talk about Persona. We've got, obviously Persona 5 Royal. We waited a long time for Persona 5 to show up on the Switch. It seemed like in the beginning maybe Atlas was a little more hesitant to support the Switch in the early days. They weren't as fully on board right away like Square Enix was. So we never got the original Persona 5 on Switch. We just got Royal, which is the definitive version anyway, so that's fine. But so
took so long though.
It took us a long time to get it. And then we got the ports, I guess. They're not really remasters of 3 portable and 4 golden as well. So you can have all of those games.
Unfortunately, not retail versions of those.
Yeah. I don't know if they probably are just at this point, I would assume, not planning to do that. I mean, if they were to do like a double pack on the Switch 2 or something.
I'm just surprised there was no Asian English version.
That is surprising, right?
That's true.
You'd think that they had to have released it in Japan, didn't they?
I think it was just digital, honestly.
Only digital? That's very odd. So, bummer that it's not widely available for people, but it is, as an owner of at least Persona 3 portable, I didn't pick up golden because I have it on the Vita, but it's cool to have that because that was a hole in my collection for a long time because Persona 3 portable on PSP was very expensive.
Very expensive.
Crazy expensive.
And it was different enough from their, remaster they did with Reloaded. So I was happy to, have that physically with the Switch.
Yeah. And the Persona love keeps going with the Switch. You got Tactica, Persona 5 Tactica, which is a cutesy, super deformed strategy RPG in the Persona 5 universe.
There's a lot of
it's heavily discounted. You could get that really cheap.
Oh yeah.
I think I saw it for $10 this week somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think I picked it up for $10 on so
again with the Sega Atlas heavily discounting things after a period of time. I also got it for $10, by the way. So,
there's not many publishers, I think, that make excess games where they get deeply discounted like that anymore.
Especially on the Switch. That's the thing that boggles my mind because it is expensive. Like publishing games on the Switch physically is expensive. Like it's not a disc, right? You're not talking about a cheap Blu-ray. Like these cards cost money and they cost more depending on how big the game is.
Exactly. It depends on if you need a bigger
on the size of the card.
Exactly.
So it's a strange strategy, but Atlas is bringing the heat.
We have a lot of SMT, games as well.
SMT 5.
That was a Switch exclusive at first.
Premiered
and then
on the
Vengeance
Switch.
was right after.
Exactly. Vengeance came out and that game was great. It's great to see SMT being, like a new SMT title. That's awesome.
Coming out over here.
It took that also took a long time.
It took forever.
I'm glad it finally
exactly. So,
and they also remade 3 Nocturne. Well, it was more of just a port, but at least that was more accessible.
A widescreen remaster. I think they added voice acting. And they added an easy mode, which is nice because that game is extremely hard. But I love that game. 3 Nocturne is so good.
I think we've talked about it before, and it's got
even though that GD Matador,
that's
I don't know if I've ever been madder. You all know. If you know, what I'm talking about with the Matador as a bad dude.
It's a bad time trying to deal with that.
Yeah.
That battle.
But it's a great game. Fantastic game.
And we talked about one Vanillaware game, 13 Sentinels, but they also released last year, right? Unicorn Overlord. That was also on the Switch.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And so some more tactical RPG love. And that was a big hit. I think a lot of people were very happy and pleased with how that game went. I haven't had time to play it. I ordered it, but then my package got stolen, so I still haven't rebought that game yet.
That's like the worst. Yeah.
But someday I'll get to it, and I'm really excited because it's a little bit of a different spin on the turn-based strategy RPGs.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm trying to remember if Grim Grimoire.
That's on Switch.
That's on the Switch. Yes.
I have that as well. That's
the remaster of that.
That was a PS2 game originally, right?
Yeah, it was a PS2
and that one also has a really weird gameplay. Like it's more of a management kind of game.
Yeah. It's like those early like Vanillaware games are all a very like eclectic bunch of systems.
Yeah. I mean, they still honestly, they still take really big swings, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
It kind of has to be a smaller team like that nowadays to do stuff like that, make the crazy weird games. But I'm glad that they're doing it. I think it's great.
Yeah, and the thing with Vanillaware is they don't do any PC ports.
No,
like all theirs are console exclusives.
That's true. Didn't think about that.
Which I don't know if that's a good strategy for them going forward, but we'll see how long that'll last.
Yeah, hopefully they branch out.
I don't know, like. I'm curious how big the PC market is in our genre in particular.
We've been seeing more and more, games being ported on there, and there's so many niche titles on Steam. Like, look at the visual novel, sector.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm just thinking like the big publishers. Like, we do get games ported to Steam. Almost, usually day one. There's a Steam version of most new games coming out.
Well, some of them take a while to cook. Like, look at the Final Fantasy stuff from Square Enix.
True. Yeah. Some of that might be like periods of exclusivity with Sony.
And then some of the PC stuff, it's not super straightforward because there's so many different builds out there.
Yeah. I just wonder if because architecture of video game systems has changed and they're much more PC-like than they ever were, if it's just not a super big problem for them to port games to PC anymore. And so they do, because like, why not? But I wonder how big the audience actually is. Like, I don't think the fact that games are being ported to PC is necessarily an indicator that there's strong demand for it. It could just be that it's a very low-hanging fruit. Yeah. So I'd be curious to know more about that market,
the numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's a sizable audience,
especially nowadays with the Steam Deck and things like that. There's more people that have access to that and want to play on their Steam Deck. So I think it's just like it's a good market just to at least give an option there.
And I think PC gaming's become more popular than ever.
Yes, especially
it's
with
more expensive than consoles, but it's
oh boy, it certainly can be. Tell you what,
it's true. I've been trying.
My stupid computer.
I've been trying to get a graphics card forever. That's
I know you're still in that
limbo.
perpetual
limbo. Maybe I'll no. There's just there.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
One of these days. I'm just trying not to think about it until then.
But anyway, tangent aside,
yes,
PC. We're talking about the Switch.
The Switch.
Did we have anything else you wanted to highlight with Atlas Sega?
I think
Atlas
we covered pretty good ground there. Unless I'm missing anything.
Yeah,
I think we did. I think we got it.
I think so.
Who else do we have?
Catherine Full Body's on there, but that's not technically a RPG.
True. Yeah.
True.
Persona universe adjacent, maybe, but not really JRPG.
We can talk about what is it? NIS America.
Yeah, let's move on to there.
Yeah.
Should we start with the big one?
Sure.
I guess if you want.
Well, there are quite a number of Trails games, which is the big one for us. But I think the three that work the best on the Switch will have to be the Crossbell Duology and Nayuta Boundless Trails.
Yes.
So I think these three definitely are essential on the Switch.
Yeah. The Crossbell games in particular are the definitive console versions.
Yep.
Yes.
Like, you can play the game on PS4. It's fine. But the Switch build of those two games is actually like refined and has more quality of life options.
Yep.
It's the only Trails games that I double dipped on because I have the PS4 versions. I wanted the Steelbooks. Come on.
I did the same thing.
I know. We have to do that.
I did that.
But I had to get the Switch versions as well because I was like, I want those. I want that sweet quality of life. Give me that sauce.
100%. I ended up picking it up on the Steam because Steam also has the quality of life improvements
based on that Steam version.
I didn't go with GOG.
I was playing it on my Steam Deck, and that's why I was just like, all right, I'll just I'll play these portably, because I got the PS4 version, and before I realized that the PS4 version wasn't the most optimal way to play a definitive version of it, and I was like, I wish they would have told us off the bat.
They did. Yeah. It's just it was a little hidden. You had to be up to date with the NIS America kind of publicity.
Yeah, they
stuff.
didn't lie about it, but they didn't. They didn't want to make it. They didn't want to hurt their own sales. I don't blame them. It's fine. It's what it is. I was
a little hurt, but okay, I moved on. But Nayuta though, I'm really glad they ported that over because we never got that game in the US, and it's such a it's a good game to have now that we're in Daybreak, and with everything.
It's good to see all that potentially. You
never know.
You never know. It's all important, I'm sure. Trails has had a very strong presence on the Switch.
Yes,
we've got the upcoming.
I think it really helped surge in popularity too. Even though there's games missing from the Trails universe on the Switch, I think it's inspired people to pick them up on consoles they're maybe less comfortable with playing, like on PC or something, just so that they could get the whole story.
Yeah, and we do have the remake of Sky also coming to the Switch this fall.
Yes.
So we'll have even more before all said and done. I'm assuming / hoping they'll have some kind of Switch 2 mode or something that I'm guessing would probably just improve the frame rate or something. But
it's going to be probably across, they'll drop it for both. They'll have a Switch version and a Switch 2 version.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see how they're going to handle that.
Yeah.
That cross-gen thing, like Sony had their method. I'm curious if they'll use the same. But
probably, maybe, who knows?
Yeah,
Nintendo has weird ways of doing things sometimes, so
they do.
They don't like to be normal about things. Usually, there's
if you look at the Wii U and even the DS and 3DS, there are a lot of games that were on the DS, but then they made enhanced versions to go on the 3DS.
Yeah,
so I can see that being a popular route, especially for popular games.
Exactly.
A lot of those, though, didn't come out at the same time, right? I'm thinking Radiant Historia is one example, and then they did Perfect Chronology, which is essentially a remake, in most every way that counts. With the Switch 2, you're going to have so many games that are just immediately cross-gen, right? They're just going to be released and at the same time. So I'm wondering if they would actually take the time to put their finger on the scale in favor of the Switch 2 version or not.
I think it's going to take time.
Because I think they need to have more exclusives on the Switch 2 to push more people to buy it.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a period.
They're going to be content, right?
It's going to be kind of like the PS4 to PS5. Maybe a little shorter window. I don't know what they're going to do, but basically because they don't want to there's going to be people that aren't going to buy the Switch 2 at first. So they're going to make sure that there's going to be the Switch 1 version. But at some point, the game it's going to be hard to develop games and make them for the Switch 1 as well because of it's not powerful enough. So as we get further into the generation, it's going to kind of teeter off on just being
developers are ready to move on. But the other thing that's important to note, and Emily, you kind of brought this to mind, is obviously Emily, you're different. You're more on the hardcore side, but most people out there in this country that own a Switch, they're fine. If the kid says, I want that Switch 2, the parent says, we've got a Switch at home. That's what's going to be. That's going to be the conversation that's happening in 60% plus 70% of American households. So, as successful as the Switch 2 might be, and as I hope that it is, it's definitely not going to have the same level of uptake, the same speed of uptake that I think people are just assuming coming from the super hardcore perspective, right? It's just not. It's just not. It never happens. It never, ever happens.
It depends on the price point too, like what the Switch 2 is going to come in at. Like whether
if the Switch 2 came in at $200, they wouldn't be able to keep them on the shelves. It's going to be $400 though. That's not an impulse buy. No,
it's going to be a harder sell for let's say parents buying for their kids and things like that. So you'll get people like us who are more all right, we'll just, we've got,
we could have money to burn. We can
we got money to
I'm gonna pony up day one because I enjoy it. It's just a fun experience, but most people are not that. They don't care.
Exactly.
The other thing that they have to contend with is there's a lot more competition in, different experience, places to have your experience.
Yeah.
I think the Switch was really successful because it had so much third-party support, but a lot of those games are available elsewhere. And I think because the Switch 2 took maybe a little bit longer to come out, a lot of people have been looking at other platforms to play a lot of those third-party experiences. So Nintendo just has to come out with a bang with a lot of first-party exclusive games, I think, to really convert people early
exactly.
on. If that's going to happen, I'm not sure, but we'll see.
Yeah.
They've been cooking for a while, so I'm sure they have
and we'll talk a little bit about Nintendo in a little bit here.
Yeah, exactly.
In our list of games, but to get back on track with NIS,
yes,
I did have a couple of a little more oddity type games that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you all had any more.
I have a few more, but
go ahead.
Please share.
But I wanted to bring up Crystar. Of course. Yeah. This may be the final time that I talk about Crystar publicly, right? Crystar is a great experience. It's one of those games that I'm I have a hard time if you ask me to be if you ask me to laud the gameplay, I'd be it's not great. It's a little stiff. It's a little samey.
Yeah.
But the storyline, the performances, the characters, the vibes are all very on point. And it really surprised me. I did not have high expectations for it.
Yeah.
I actually bought it. I only bought it because it was during that period of time where I was I'm going to get every JRPG, every single one. I'm going to have them all. And Crystar originally had only been available on PS4. And it was super expensive because they didn't sell that many of them. But then they were coming out with the Switch version. It was going to be $60 or whatever. I was okay, there you go. Problem solved. I can get the game and I don't have to spend $200 on it. And I did not expect that I would really care that much for it, but that wasn't the point. The point was I was collecting all the JRPGs, but I really loved it. I really did. Surprisingly a lot. NIS America has said to me, they were yeah, if you're surprised how much you liked it, you seem to talk about it more than most people. Yeah. I don't know.
I've never played it actually. I you've kind of just sold me because if it's got a good story and characters, I'm
it's all about the story.
That's what I need. I mean,
the aesthetics.
Not right now because I have too much on my plate. But
don't take anything on right now. But
I should play that. Then.
Finish what you have.
Then one of these days.
Look at the rest of your.
I'll add it to the backlog.
The other one, real quick, that I just want to bring up is The Longest 5 Minutes. This is NIS America, but it was actually developed by Nipponichi, so their parent company, NIS. This is just such a cool little experience. It's it's not super long. You can probably beat it in 12, 13 hours. It's not challenging in really any way. You can breeze through it without breaking a sweat. But it's just such a unique and cool experience of a game. It's using the medium of JRPG to do interesting creative stuff. Yeah. And I really want to see more stuff like that. And that's something you can, whether you love them or hate them, you can really count on Nipponichi to do weird stuff. They still do weird stuff.
They do.
Experiments.
Yeah.
So highly recommend it. I don't know how easy it is to come by physically. I'm sure it's not super expensive digitally.
The most expensive one.
Yeah. So you might be able to get your hands on it if you wanted it. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, but I think one thing that NIS America did pretty well was bring over a lot of games they released in the past and made an HD version of them. One example of this, right, was the Disgaea games with their Disgaea Complete games. And so I'm holding up the first Disgaea game, which is the one I've only played so far. But they have 7 of these now. I think all of them are on the Switch except 2 or 3. One of those.
I don't know.
One of the numbered games isn't on the Switch physically, but they have all these other games. And if you like wacky strategy games where you have ridiculous levels and combos and things like that with ridiculous numbers and just wacky humor, the Disgaea games are definitely something worth looking into.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys have played too much of those, but they're a fun time.
I played the first one a bit on the on the PS2. So I'm wondering if the Switch version, I'm assuming the quality of life maybe
there are
makes
a lot of quality
bit,
life stuff here.
Yeah, it was just very hard. Like I got into it and I was like, oh, this is fun. It's quirky. It's weird. And I was having a good time with it. And then like maybe 2 hours in, I just hit the hardest brick wall I've ever hit in the game. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That happened, I think, with the first releases. But I think the Switch versions made it a lot more user-friendly.
That's good.
Yes. Okay. I think I played the first one on the PS2 as well. And it was like one of those games that like is fun, but like it also took like it's like you have to grind it out for many and many, many hours.
Yeah. You gotta be willing to put in the time on the originals for sure.
So I was always like afraid to jump back in just because of how much time consuming it could get. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll go back and try to play the more complete versions now and see.
Yeah. And I think we kind of misspoke on the previous section. The Vanillaware Grim Grimoire Once More. I think NIS released that. Not
did they
Alice.
publish that?
So it's one of those, Vanillaware, they have so many different publishers.
That's true. I forgot. Yeah.
But yeah, they were NIS America, bringing back that PS2 game. And
good call.
Some extra quality of life stuff. Another one they brought back, but from the 3DS, was The Alliance Alive, which I was really happy that they made an HD version of that.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite experiences on the 3DS. So it was cool to have it available on the Switch. I think early in the life cycle, like it was a pretty early Switch game.
Yeah.
And more recently, they brought back the predecessor of The Alliance Alive, Legend of Legacy. So it was cool that they brought that back too. It made an HD version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All we're missing is Radiant Historia, but those were the
Atlas. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Give us the. But no, not to diminish Alliance Alive or Legend of Legacy. Those are great.
Yeah.
Especially Alliance Alive. I really, really liked the Alliance Alive.
And their combat was very akin to like the Saga games, where you have like the random skills that come when you're battling, which I thought was really cool because I never experienced the Saga games before. So it was cool to see that featured for the first time when I was playing Alliance Alive.
Yeah, at the time, my experience with Saga was pretty much just Saga Frontier, and I did not like it. And I thought, well, I must not like this because of how it plays. But it turns out, I think I'm fine with the gameplay. It's just that the story in Saga Frontier wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah.
But like Alliance Alive was working for me on the story front, so like the gameplay worked for me too. Like it's well done.
Yeah, Alliance Alive had a fun, like it had a good gameplay, or it had a great story. I think I enjoyed the story. The characters were really good. I enjoyed that game, and it's like another reason why we need more 3DS ports. There's so many games that are stuck.
Rescue those JRPGs, please.
I know.
They're stranded. They're drowning.
Yeah,
so many good ones.
Section, we forgot to talk about that Train Odyssey HD.
I haven't played those, so I don't.
2DS.
I haven't played those yet either.
Yes.
So one of these days.
I'm collecting
But it was
them.
cool to see, some first-person dungeon crawler kind of love, and how they, revisioned that on the Switch rather than on the dual screens. So that was cool. And NISA also had a first-person dungeon crawler, the Labyrinth of Refrain.
Oh, yeah.
Has the same art style, as Disgaea and,
Yeah, there's 2 of those. I have them both. Labyrinth of Refrain and
the Moon Society
Galleria.
one. Yeah, at the Moon Society.
Like Moon Society, yeah. Like that's cool to see those kind of old school. Also, did NIS do Mary Skelter?
No.
Who did
that? Was Idea Factory.
I mean, okay. They published it. Okay. Okay.
They also had something with limited run games. It was like a partnership with them.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I don't know where I would talk about that one, but
We have another category. We'll talk about others.
Yeah, we can hit that.
We can end on like the
weird random ones that
the weird
that don't
ones
fit
that
into the big publishers. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one I wanted to mention for NISA was the Caligula Effect 2.
Yeah.
So they had the first game, which I don't have. I didn't buy that because I heard not so great things. But the second one is supposed to be a pretty good experience. I've yet to play it, but I hear that it's a really interesting kind of almost like a Persona kind of experience, but its own spin. And I'm always interested in different types of games.
You must not have talked to me about it because I actually think the Caligula Effect is pretty cool.
Really?
The original Caligula, yeah. Yeah, it's
Did
not,
you play it on Switch?
I have it on the PS4. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I heard that like it was an interesting concept, but 2 is when it really refined that concept. So that's why I kind of went for this.
The gameplay system in the Caligula Effect, assuming that 2 is like a refined version of 1, I don't know. I haven't played 2 yet. But it is a very cool concept, and maybe the execution of it was improved in the second one, which would be cool. So, yeah. Caligula.
But yeah, there's so many interesting games from NAS America. Like, again, I think we only scratched the surface with these.
Oh, yeah. There's tons of stuff. And they do so many interesting kinds of games, too.
They do. Yep. I still have more on my shelf that I'm not showing because I haven't played them really. And I wanted to focus more on ones I played.
Makes sense. Moving on, though.
Yeah, I think that's well represented, though. Other than, they also have Ease, of course. But
oh, yeah, sure.
Ease is an interesting case because some of the earlier ones were published through other people other than NISA.
That's true.
Yeah, like I have Origin here that's like Dotimu. I don't know.
Right, and they also did limited run games and some other limited publishers, I think, in Europe. So that one's an interesting case, but definitely, I think, a great Switch game.
Yeah,
regardless
for sure.
of who the publishers. 8 and 9 and 10 were on the Switch. I don't know if the Switch is the best place to experience those, but they're still great games.
Yeah.
And if the Switch is the only option to play them, I think definitely go play them.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you don't have a Steam Deck and portability is like the number one concern for your game playing experience, it's fine. You'll still have a great time with it. It's still a great game.
Exactly.
I would just caution you about 9 because 9 is the one with the game breaking bug if you don't patch it. So that's just the issue with the physical cart. You have to have it download in order to have a better experience and beat the game.
Yes. Sure. Exactly.
Which is something to consider, especially if you're a Switch collector. If that doesn't matter to you, then don't worry about it.
Yeah. Luckily, there are patches out there, but you never know. If you're watching this in the future and there is no patch available, then there you go.
The interesting thing with the Switch, though, is if someone else has the game patched on their system, you could somehow sync with them if the servers go down or something. So you could actually have the patch, but who knows how that's going to, be tested in the future.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a lot of people who are collectors of the Nintendo Switch. They're really concerned about how complete is the cartridge before they decide to buy a game and what system to buy it for.
Yeah, that makes sense, though. All right. We can probably
Should we move on to another publisher?
To another one. Do we want to touch on a Nintendo first party or Nintendo published games?
Yeah, the big guns.
I feel like this is going to be straightforward. I think we're a fan of all of their JRPGs, right?
Yeah.
I guess maybe, starting with Super Mario RPG to get the Nintendo flavored things kind of right up front.
Who saw that coming?
GameStop has that for $20 if you're watching this.
Oh, yeah. So pick that
when
up.
this releases.
It is very cheap lately.
One of the best remakes of one of the, frankly, best 16-bit JRPGs. It's a really, really, really well done game. It's a lot of fun, very faithful. It, the few things that it adds, they're cool. They don't detract from the game at all. So really it does everything right as far as, a remake goes, like a shot for shot type remake. So very highly recommend that, especially if you haven't played the original, but even if you did, it's cool to experience it kind of like with that glow up, right?
Yeah. It's like the definitive to play it now, the definitive way to play it now. If you don't have the original cartridge and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's cool that they're bringing back, the Mario RPGs, because for a while there, they kind of didn't touch it. But now towards the end of the Nintendo life or the Switch life cycle, we've been seeing more. And the Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door came out last year. And that was a fun game. That was my first time playing a Paper Mario game. And definitely worth, I think, playing now if you haven't played them.
Yeah.
I would say that it's the best Paper Mario game.
It is, yes.
Like, and in my mind, it's not close. Like, it's very, very, very good.
Yeah,
very, very good.
They give a lot of love to Mario RPG styled games towards the end of the Switch. It's pretty incredible because
we got Brothership.
We got Brothership,
Mario and Luigi Brothership,
which I've heard mixed things about.
Yeah, I've not heard the best things about it, but like it's still it's a new Mario RPG. So like, hey, we're still making them. That's cool.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was sad that we had so many on the 3DS, and then early in the Switch, we didn't see any.
Yep.
So it's cool now towards the end. They started to come back.
Yeah,
exactly. Outside of that, I mean, we can always get into some Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem
with Engage first.
Engage, I will, highlight this one specifically. Just because of just how much fun. I think we all agreed on it. Like we've talked about it before in previous episodes.
I loved it.
The gameplay and everything was just pure good Fire Emblem.
Gameplay. I think Fire Emblem as a franchise, like it's the core of it is the gameplay.
Exactly.
And I think Engage did the best of it out of the Switch games that have released.
Exactly.
I've never understood the people that are like, well, it's not a great showcase because it's an anniversary game and it's really just for the fans. I've played one Fire Emblem game before Engage, and it was Three Houses. And I loved this one so much more. I had so much more fun with this game, like on every level. Yeah. So like, I just don't buy that the theory that it's like, oh, it's not a great one for people that aren't super familiar. It's like, I don't care. Like, oh, they're summoning these characters from the past games of the series. Like, okay, that's fine.
That's interesting. I don't hear that take as much. The take I hear most often is that the story lacks, especially compared to Three Houses, and that's where that comparison
lies.
And I disagree with that too. Like, I think Three Houses has an interesting story, but it's just so long-winded.
I feel like
how many routes you have to do.
I just think
needless things.
I understand that thought process because Three Houses is more of a dramatic, like it's
more of an epic.
It's an epic story that has where like I think Fire Emblem Engage is more cheesy, it's fun. It's more like on the nose, like it's a great time, but it's not. You're not going to get that like epic.
And there's some biases I think concerning the art style, which I find so unfortunate that people lean so heavily in that.
Yeah, I think.
I have personally not engaged much with the Fire Emblem fan. Yeah, right. That's we gotta start a tally. And not just me. Anybody can make a Branden joke. You could make a Branden joke at home. But I haven't engaged much with the Fire Emblem fan community. I tend to, and that's actually the case, honestly, with most fandoms. Yeah. I don't get in the weeds with them. So
I think the criticism though is beyond just the Fire Emblem fandom. Like there's a Nintendo fandom that has their opinion about the Fire Emblem games. There's JRPG fans who have their opinion about the Fire Emblem games.
Well, and it's
the
not
Fire Emblem fan community is a little bit different.
It's not that I haven't heard other people's opinions about it. It's that when you delve deep into different fandoms, there's a lot of groupthink that happens, and I hate groupthink. Like, hate it so much. Like, I don't even want to hear it. So like, I just avoid it. So I have not, like, even though I've seen some opinions, like I just don't agree. I think that it's, I don't know. I think it's a fantastic game.
Yeah, I think it's very divisive within just people who enjoy JRPGs. It's either you love it or hate it.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like we're all in the camp that we love that game.
Yeah. And it's interesting that it is like often when there's a game that's divisive in that way, I feel like as I'm playing it, I can often see, like, even if I'm really enjoying it, I can be like, I could see how somebody's going to hate this. Like I didn't have that thought cross my mind one time with Engage.
The one moment I had was right in the beginning about like they were looking at Alear as some sort of, super like god or something. Like I was like, okay, this is a little bit weird, but I got over it. Like it was only like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you didn't play beyond the 5 minutes, I don't see as well as where people were getting some of their opinions about the story personally.
Yeah, saying that the story was bad or whatever. It's, like I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I thought
it was a regular story. Like
it was a Fire Emblem game that had a main character. None of them have main characters, guys. Like there's actually a main character in this game, like
with personality,
that participates in the story.
Yeah.
Like that's significant to me. So
they do have main characters that participate. To be clear, on previous Fire Emblem games, just
I thought they were all silent.
No, they're not.
Oh, well, that actually makes me want to play them more.
That's another thing.
I honestly did think that they were all silent protagonists.
No.
Yeah, the 3DS.
Play Echoes.
Yeah.
No, I know Echoes doesn't, but I thought Echoes was kind of a special case.
No.
Like Awakening? So. Awakening has like a voice, like a protagonist that speaks?
Robin speaks, I think.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just you could choose male or female Robin, but
they still participate in the story.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Hey,
those are games I wish they would also port over too. So
yeah, why not?
Make more ways to play it. So
bring them on.
And the Fates games, I think they participate too.
Yeah. I feel like most of them have like characters that participate.
Why didn't you guys tell me this years ago? Because I would have played them.
I didn't know that was a factor in this.
I've been telling you to play the Fire Emblem games.
It's true. Emily has been telling
you. Did, but you didn't tell me that they had protagonists that were actually real characters. I just thought that they were silent.
No. Three Houses is a very much an outlier.
Okay.
It's a very much different game than.
It's not really. I don't say it's a true Fire Emblem experience. It's a different one. I'll just say.
Let's just say, if you've only played Three Houses, you're not truly understanding what Fire Emblem is all about, because it's not really all about that. Like
it's so different compared to the other Fire Emblem games.
Given how much I liked Engage, especially compared to Three Houses, it sounds like I probably would like the rest of the Fire Emblem games. Quite a bit
I think
more.
you will.
The 3DS ones
and I
were
hope
fun.
we see more. Honestly,
Yeah.
like that last direct, I was expecting that we'll have Genealogy: The Holy War remaster announced, but still missing.
We'll see this week.
Maybe this coming week.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Live stream the Switch 2.
I mean,
you will be.
Yes, you'll find us streaming bright and early.
Yeah. And what's also cool about the Fire Emblem games is that we did get some other kind of, spin-offs, if you will, with the Warriors games and titles.
Yeah.
And they also had that anniversary digital game. The original.
I have my
which I bought. I haven't actually used my code
for that. Oh.
Right. It was like a physical release, but no game, like just a code or whatever.
Well, there's a game code in it, but yes, no physical game.
Yeah,
but they had the cart made out of glass. Oh,
that's cool. I mean, as a collector's piece, that's cool.
It's definitely a collector's item.
Yeah, it's really cool. I liked it, and it looks good on the shelf. So
yeah, and the art book it came with was beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nice chunky art book, hardcover, really nice. So
a chunky boy,
chunky, yeah. I mean, without having a physical game, they got to give you something. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm hoping Fire Emblem is more represented on the Switch too, since technically we only really got 2 games.
Yeah.
For the past 8 years.
Which is that not normal? Like I don't know how fast
the 3DS had, if you count all the different versions, 4.
Yeah.
Okay. 5 if you include Revelations for Fates.
I feel like we were eating good for the 3DS that we thought we would get more.
3DS is a great era.
Yeah. But they kind of slowed down a bit.
Like GameCube only had 1. We only had 1.
Yeah. We didn't start getting
any.
Yeah.
They were slow on the rollout because, we didn't really get that many Fire Emblem games like when
I mean, in Japan,
and it grew in popularity with Smash and things like that.
There was only 1 in Japan, even on the GameCube and on the Wii, right? The Radiant series, Which another surprise that they haven't remastered those.
I'm surprised too.
I know, yeah. Maybe we'll see that. You never know.
Maybe.
I think they have to because they're so expensive.
I think we're going to have just an era of just remasters and remakes. We're already in it, but I think it's going to be here for a while.
Yeah,
we started it. To get comfy with the remasters, folks, because they're not
I'm
going
here
away
for
anytime
it
soon.
that means I don't have to shell out money for retro JRPGs.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot that you probably missed, like when you were younger too.
Yes.
So you'll have an opportunity to play those now, which is great.
Yeah, but more Nintendo games. Let's see. What are you guys thinking? Shoot.
I mean, I think we hit all of the Nintendo games. There's no other JRPG series.
I could do one that
all.
we haven't mentioned.
There's nothing.
That's adjacent to JRPGs, but still has RPG elements.
Okay.
And that is Astral Chain.
That is a great game that needs to be talked about more. Yeah.
It's really good. And it does have RPG elements, so that's why I'm including in this list.
Okay.
Yes.
But it's more of an action game. It's from the developers of Bayonetta. But
it's Platinum Games, right?
Yes, it is Platinum Games.
Yes, okay. And they're good at action.
It's fun. I thought it was fun. And you have, you kind of control both your player as well as the demon at the same time. So it's really interesting to have, on screen 2 characters you have to interact with to beat the enemies and stuff. So I thought it was pretty inventive, honestly, in that respect.
Very cool.
Yeah, I agree. I wish that would be nice if they made another one.
I would like so, but I don't know what's happening in Platinum Games now.
Yeah, that's true. They've
been bleeding some top talent, haven't they?
Yeah. So I think they had a lot of issues in their management.
And this is still very much underrated.
It is. So. It's like one of those games I wish more people talked about because it is really fun and unfortunately very hard to find physically.
Is it? Oh.
It is.
Yeah. It's not like they stopped making those.
Well, here we are getting the word out right now.
Maybe I hope so.
Like they did for Xenoblade 2 for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We're making it known. Check it out.
Yeah.
That's true.
I have to play it myself. I've never played it.
Another one before we get into the really big one. It's Tokyo Mirage Session.
Oh, yes.
Sharp FE on courses.
I have that, yeah.
And Nintendo.
Yes. Atlas and Nintendo. It's a great game.
So fun.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun. Like, I want more JRPGs that infuse like Japanese pop music like this. And have just really flashy battles. And they use the triangle system that I think Fire Emblem games should all use, but Three Houses didn't.
Which is
also why I'm a little salty
weird.
with
You're going to be coming for us so hard in the comments on this one.
I know.
The
it's all right.
Three Houses community is descending on us as we speak.
We're just haters. It's all right.
Gosh. We're ignorant haters. We can't help it.
I still enjoy the game, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not like
I just don't consider it a real Fire Emblem game. I just enjoy it for a separate reason.
I feel like I've tried to say that I liked it because I was scared of people. I don't think I liked it, guys.
Really?
Like I don't remember anything about it. I remember like almost nothing about.
I like the story.
It meant so little to me. It just stuck with me.
I think the characters are what stood out. The story was interesting. It just takes a while to get there.
I remember Edelgard. And
which route though?
I went the Edelgard route.
Okay.
That's it. Well, I remember the golden deer guy with the earring and the blue boy.
The blue boy.
They're all getting skill figures now. I'm waiting for Claude's to be announced. They've showed Edelgard and Dimitri's.
Dimitri, that's his name. I don't remember anything. I remember Bernadetta, who was like the pee pants girl, the girl failure character.
The pee pants girl. There you have it.
Of everything.
There you have it. That's Brandon's take.
Sorry, guys. You know what? People have told me on my channel, they're like, don't feel like you have to be, towing the line or like, just like, blah, your feelings.
You don't like a game, just say you don't like it.
This is what the podcast is for. Is for Brandon to just be.
All right, I don't like Three Houses, y'all. I don't care for it.
This is Brandon Uncensored. This is Brandon Uncensored. It's coming.
I don't care for it, but I respect your right to enjoy it. How's that?
There you go. There you go. At least there's respect.
All right, so I think we're left now with one more franchise. I
don't think so. I think we covered them all.
Yeah, I think there's nothing left. There's no other Nintendo game out there. I have no idea. So
I'm just joshing you, everybody. Yeah. Just joshing you.
I'm bringing the fancy case. Xenoblade. The fancy case.
Xenoblade, I think, is definitely, if I were to name one Nintendo first party game that stands out on the Switch, has to be the Xenoblade games.
Yeah.
As much as I love Fire Emblem and the previous ones we talked about, really Xenoblade, I think, really is the benchmark, right?
Yep.
For JRPGs on the Switch.
I mean, that's where it went to thrive. Like, I mean, you had
we have all of them now.
Yeah, they're all on the Switch.
Astounding.
All on the Switch now, which is amazing.
Like, I mean, let's say like Xenoblade, the first game did well on the Wii, but Xenoblade didn't catch on like until you got to
Until
like the Switch. Because like Xenoblade X, like
they tried it on 3DS, which you had to have the new 3DS to play it, and
it was a bit
it's kind of ridiculous how it was on there.
Yeah,
it's amazing, right? It's amazing that they did it on there, but it wasn't the best way to play it.
That was not the best place to play it.
Monolith Soft is like they're just wizards back there.
They're
just
gods.
I don't know what they do, but they're like technically like the best game devs. They could just do anything with anything, like with
magicians.
like it's
That's all
amazing.
they are, magicians.
But the fact that like we just saw like, you know, Xenoblade 2, 3, all the DLC across those that are like they're meaty, like they're good DLC, like they're not just casual DLC. Like
they're stories in themselves.
Yeah, like
they're their own games.
Exactly, and
maybe
then,
not future connected, but.
Future connected was kind of just like a
it's
a fun
that
little
wasn't extra
epilogue.
paid DLC. That was included in the
exactly.
The first one.
So they didn't have to give us that.
No.
And then just seeing, you know, them bring like, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles, like, the first one, and then X, like the fact that we just got X and like we're deep, like the
impossible game, right?
The game that could not be ported.
Exactly. And here I am, like just leading up to recording this, I was sitting there just like putzing around playing that game. It's so addictive.
Like 6 hours today. Yeah. Like I still haven't advanced the plot. I'm still just going around and doing stuff.
I had my family yelling at me today because I was like at dinner and like we were sitting right after dinner and I was like, I pulled out my Switch to to do some random grinding and they're just like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna play."
You're like, "I'm here, engaging with you and communicating and making eye contact." And
I was just like, and they were just like, "Yeah, can you just not do that?" I'm just like, "I guess." And there's like, took all of me to put it down, but like, it's become an addiction. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fun.
Xenoblade is just like, what more can we say? We've said so much about this game, these games. Like 3 is one of the most incredible experiences of a story that I've had in like recent like years in terms of just like sheer just everything. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I would for me 3 is my favorite on all levels. Like the gameplay was the first time that I really felt like I clicked with the gameplay.
Yep.
It does get a little repetitive, which I mean it's a super long game. It's almost kind of to be expected, but
I find it too much for me, but
you liked a little bit of the jank.
Not even the jank. I wanted a little bit more. I don't know. I feel like you get complacent after a while once you level up, and you kind of go through the motions, which is fine. It's just
that's one thing that I really do like about X is you have to be engaged with the combat system.
Yes,
because you know, like a relatively low level mob could wipe you out if you're not actually playing the game. Like you can't just rely on auto attack and stuff. So
exactly, like you have to cycle through.
I would argue the same thing with 2, which is why I really liked 2's combat. You have to think about who is in your party, what blades are they using, what elements do they have. If you want to engage with the chain attack stuff, you have to do the time presses and everything.
2 was like extreme in the other direction for me, where it was just like really complicated. I feel like
Emily, if you can teach me how to play 2, maybe I'll like 2 more because I did not ever learn how to play.
When I come over,
show me
this weekend.
Show me
this is the prime time to ask me.
Show me how this game works. I do not understand.
How do I get good, Emily?
Like that's a testament to the game. Like that's a testament to the team and the storytellers there, because like even though I didn't get the gameplay at all, and like at least in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I still loved. I was just like blown away by the game, like the story and the everything. Like
the characters, I think, were just so good in 2.
Yeah, the characters are great. I love
Nia is like one of my all-timers. I think she's fantastic.
She's great.
I even like Rex. People
Rex's
were like
transformation from 2 to Future Redeemed, I thought was also amazing.
Oh my god!
I mean, like seeing how he's changed is cool. But I actually liked Rex in 2. I thought he was great.
I do too. I thought his transformation was just cool.
Yeah,
through all of that.
No, yeah, for sure.
That's what happens when you have 2 baby mamas. Like it changes you. It changes you. I'm just kidding.
More than 2.
He's got
3. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he's got 3, and he's probably sticking his finger in some other pies too, right? Like he's all They got.
He had all those other blades that he pulled, right?
That's true.
Right? You think he's letting Cosmos hang out in the back? No, she's up in there. She's involved.
Oh my gosh, Shion's gonna be so sad.
that I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my biggest prude moment was like, I was so deeply unsettled by that whole thing.
I was just confused. I was like, what?
I was like deeply unsettled by it. I was like, oh.
I could just like picture Takahashi going like, hey, yeah, this is going to be, I'm going to put this out there.
Gonna get
I know
him.
what to get you now for Christmas next year. T-shirt with that photo. I'll make you wear it on the podcast.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Great series though, right?
Yeah.
Great series.
Love that series. Yeah. Just can't get enough.
Yasunori Mitsuda's still kicking around there, making some music for them.
Still doing,
I love that.
Yeah.
Doing great work.
Did Joanna Hogg sing the credits for?
Yes.
She sang the credits for Future Connected.
Yeah, she
right?
did for Future Connected. She came back
Which
for that.
like I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Like such a good choice. Like
I
not
know.
only is she a great singer, but like thematically and like symbolically having her sing the song after that revelation at the end is like, oh,
it felt like it's like full circle
times.
to like the Xeno world. Just having her come back
I'm just
and
so
do
excited. What's
I know.
in store?
Yeah.
Not
This
only
is
X, which I'm of course playing now, but
I'm really
just
excited to see what they've added to X because they have a whole bunch of.
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, I don't know about a whole bunch, but they have story content that's new.
Right.
They have some new characters in there as well. I've gotten. I don't remember which of the characters are new. I know Neil Nail is new.
Yeah. There's like
and
two
Neil Nail
other,
is
I
the
think.
best, by the way. I think Neil Nail is the best. Have you got Neil Nail yet?
Not yet. I will.
You don't have Neil
I'm
Nail
very
yet?
early.
Get Neil Nail. She's great.
Okay.
She's the best.
Yeah.
I like her. I just like what she is. Like her profession, her connection to. I don't know. It's really
Yeah.
cool. But there's 3 other new ones. I'm not sure which ones they are.
Yeah. Because
I didn't get any. Like I barely got any party members the first time I played the game on the Wii U. I just brute forced my way through that game.
Because you have
And
to you have to do a lot of
great.
side content to pick up like new characters and stuff like that.
I'm 30 hours into the game and I have only advanced past chapter 5.
Oh,
so
yeah, I'm like right behind you.
Yeah,
like-
I'm not far.
Like 20 some hours, like close to 30, but I'm like right towards the end of 4.
Yeah.
So I'm still like, I'm just
You
doing
do
a lot
get
of random
roadblocks.
stuff.
You do get roadblocked quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like to start
Infest.
chapter 6, you have to explore at least 20% of, I forget which region, the kind of jungly region, I think.
Yeah.
Or is it Oblivia? I don't know. One of the regions you have to
I've
explore at
done
least 20% of it.
Too much exploring.
So if you
It's so
haven't
fun, though.
if you haven't cleared at least the certain percentages of all the different regions, you're going to eventually run into a roadblock, which is kind of annoying, but you know,
My
it's
other-
fun to
Part of the game,
explore
though.
anyway.
That's
So
the main game is to explore that planet, right?
it is.
Yeah.
And that's
it
part
makes
of
sense.
why I kind of wish that you had the ability to get the skull a little bit sooner.
I
just
agree.
because it does
Yeah, it
take
makes it
kind of a
easier.
long time to run from
Or swim.
Like I took or swim in the case of our
half
community
an hour
event
swim.
over the weekend. I
I did that today. That was my.
Did you do it today? Yeah. You do the affinity quest and you're locked in. You can't progress the story until you finish it. I had to swim across the ocean to get to the farthest continent
I know.
to do a
half
quest.
an
And it
hour,
was like
right?
not a hard quest. It just was like, okay, 30
That's
minutes
fun,
of
though.
like traveling.
I know. It took forever to swim all the way there.
And you can't fight while you're swimming. I don't know.
No, you
Yeah,
can't.
you gotta, fortunately,
So,
there weren't any enemies in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just straight
good, at
line.
least.
Straight line.
Yeah. My one thing is like, it is very interesting that like, there's like, you get these missions that say like, oh, it's like 18, 20, level 20, like to do them.
Recommended. level 20, yeah.
And then I'll be like fighting like other 18, 20, like enemies. And then like right in the middle of those enemies is like a 50, level 50.
Level
and I'm
54.
and I'm sitting there going like, how am I?
hyper-aggressive tyrant
Yeah.
or something.
I'm like-
it's like great.
I go to the strategy of like, I'm able to kill one of them to get like a piece of the item that I need. And then I get killed and then I come back and then I do it again. And I just do it until
I would try to draw them away. So like I'd get my gun out and like shoot them from a distance and then just like
I did that.
backpedal. Yeah.
That it was a very aggressive tyrant.
Yeah. It's not a flawless.
And they were like
strategy, but-
right next to him. Like he was just like, right, they circled around him and like, they were just like, I was like, why is it designed this way?
I mean, that's what you do, right?
Yeah,
That's what you
it's
want
what
to
you
do.
do. But anyways, it's
Well,
awesome.
Anyway,
That's something that
yeah.
happens in the previous or the other Xenoblade games too.
Yeah, that's true.
They've always had giant enemies
That just
kicking your
And then you have to draw out some so you don't get
exactly.
mobbed.
kicking your teeth in for
Yep.
no reason. Yeah.
But we should move on to the last publisher we wanted to feature before we just do free for all.
Yeah.
Free for
That is
all.
Bandai Namco.
Yes.
Band-Aid Namco.
So they have quite an eclectic JRPG list.
I might go first if it's okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
To stay on the subject of Monolith, we can bring up Baiten Kaitos 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And the watercolor aesthetic that we talked about earlier.
Exactly. So these were, stuck on the GameCube for the longest time. Many people didn't actually get to play this probably because it was like not a very popular game amongst most people, I think. Especially
the GameCube itself wasn't that popular.
Yeah.
But
it was
and then you put on a niche JRPG.
Yeah, exactly.
Even less popular.
And let's say this port isn't the most the best version of it.
They threw out the voice acting.
Yeah, exactly. They got rid of the lot.
I heard the voice acting was pretty bad.
It was bad. It was bad.
But they still threw it out.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish
they could have
hadn't.
just had an option to turn it off.
It would have been nice to either turn it off or switch it if you want, but
so it's not the best it's the most ideal version to be able to play it now because most people just aren't going to be able to don't
it's
have
not definitive, right? It doesn't have everything.
It doesn't have everything, but it's great that they even brought this out. It's
I'm happy because I don't have a GameCube. I don't plan on getting a GameCube, and it's nice to have it nice and accessible.
Exactly.
I think most of the games that are worth having are available on modern hardware now, so that's pretty good.
That's true.
And there's not that many card RPGs out there.
No, and usually I'm not the biggest card RPG kind of person, but this game was actually pretty interesting, and I think it's also the story and music of Monolith Softs that it's that style.
Yeah,
that just brings me in.
That's the thing is, if I had known when I was younger, even though I wasn't super into games during that era. If I had known that it was by the people that made Xenogears and Xenosaga, I think I would have been interested. I just didn't know. I didn't know that was who it was by.
Yeah.
And because it was card based, I vaguely understood that was kind of the concept. I was like, no thanks. It's the Drake meme, or is it Drake that is doing the no?
Yeah. That one.
So it's no to the card, but to the monolith. That's that's how it was for me.
Yep. But glad that came out.
And they also brought out some other, remasters from previous systems, the .hack /
That's right.
GU. How do you say that?
Yeah, I think it's just
the slash is silent.
Yeah, it's just .hack GU, I think is how
okay.
/
Last recode.
www.hack.
And not only did they bring that out, but they actually finished it with an epilogue. They added a whole other epilogue to that. So that's actually incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool. And what was weird about this is, at least in North America, this was their Bandai Namco store exclusive. So it wasn't a retail release. And so it was hard to get a hold of this, except thanks to the Switch being region free and a lot of publishers adding, English text or voice acting on other regions, you could buy it the Japanese version, basically, if you want.
The Switch version that was exclusive to the store, or was the PlayStation version also exclusive?
Just the Switch version.
Just the Switch version.
The PlayStation one was retail. That released before the Switch version.
Because that's the one I have.
I have the PlayStation 4 one.
I don't know if there's any new content on the Switch version. I want to say no.
I don't
believe so.
I think we had
this conversation before, actually. But I don't think that we decided that there was any extra content.
No. It was just people pay more for the Switch because it's popular.
Yeah.
They think Nintendo means it's going to be expensive in the future, I guess.
Yeah.
And they probably did a lower print run. They weren't doing make to order, so they probably
I got this on sale. I think they were clearancing it out, and then it just disappeared, and that was it.
That was it.
They did the same thing with Digimon World.
Oh, yeah.
That one? I don't have the right name. But there was a Digimon game that they had on the PS4 that then they had a store exclusive for the Switch version. That ran out very quickly. Now it's really expensive.
Okay.
And I don't think the Switch version has English in another region.
Oh.
But
that's too bad because Digimon are the champions.
They are.
I don't know if you heard.
And speaking of Digimon, Cyber Sleuth, the complete version, is a great buy, I think, on the Switch. Specifically on the Switch, because you could buy this, this was a Vita game. They made PS4 versions of it. But what's really cool about the Switch version is if you wanted to really, get in the weeds with evolving or digivolving, your Digimon and creating the best monsters, you could just have them go in this kind of virtual farm where they would upgrade, level up by themselves. And you could just do that in sleep mode. So you don't have to use real time, to wait for these monsters to upgrade and become, I'm not using the right terminology because it's been a while for me to play this
you
game,
Digimon super fans out there will understand.
Basically. Yeah. I just picked up the Switch version actually last week. As of last week.
Does that have both? Does that have both games on it?
It has both of them.
See, I wish that I'd done that. I have the two separate on PS4.
Yeah, I have the PS4 one, but I wanted to get like them combined, so I got the Switch one. And last week it was on sale for like 20. I think it.
Oh. You can pick this up for 20 pretty easily.
Yeah.
I think that's when a few years ago, I skipped it up for 20. And so it's a great buy, I think, for 2 games that are actually pretty good.
I just talked about it in one of my more recent videos.
Right, yeah.
Love that game. I'm excited for the new game coming out. So like,
it looks legit pretty
cool. It really looks cool. I want to buy it this year, honestly.
That might be possibly a day one buy for. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see where I'm at with all the games I'm playing at the time. But I'm gonna definitely buy it.
Real quick life hack. Life hack for you guys and for everybody listening / watching. If you ever have a song stuck in your head and you cannot get it out of your head, sing the Digimon theme song to yourself. It will get rid of the song in your head, and it's not itself a very sticky song, so you'll be able to get that one out of your head too. It works. It is it's brilliant. It's saved my life so many times. It's fantastic.
Because I feel like I've had that song stuck in my head, and no one.
Oh no, you might be one of the 2% of people that are susceptible.
So statistically,
I grew up with it. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of it growing up.
I was a huge fan of the cartoon on Fox. Man, I love that.
I was obsessed with that.
It's so good.
And I used to play was at the PlayStation 1 game. I think that was the one that they remastered, Digimon World, which was it was just kind of breeding and creating your own little, and you would do little mini games. You do these little mini games with them. It was just a fun time. I think I still have it possibly somewhere. I don't know.
That's fun. I've been wanting to go back to the past Digimon games and play them, because I kind of neglected them after a while. Everyone kind of played the Pokemon games, but I feel like Digimon was swept under the rug. Yeah.
I wonder, was this game by Bandai Namco, but there was a Monster Rancher game for the PS1?
Yeah. I remember that game.
I think they actually they brought it back. And the cool thing is because originally if you would put different PS1 discs in there, it would give you different monsters. It
would generate different monsters. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think they made a way to do that in the remaster where it's you cycle through.
Looking up your game history or something?
It would look at it would just look at specific game discs. And so you would just take your, you'd turn on the PS1 and you have that game and then you could switch out the disc and put in a different one and then close the lid and it would read it and it'd be here's this monster that would become part of your thing.
That's fun.
Super cool little random stuff. I can't remember. I think it might have been.
There was a lot of cool stuff like that in the PS1 era.
Yeah. People were creative back then.
Yeah.
With how to use the systems.
Their constraints and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. But
another game I wanted to give a shout out was the Ni no Kuni games. I have the first one here, The Wrath of the White Witch, but they also had Ni no Kuni 2 come over to the Switch. And it was just nice to see the Studio Ghibli, art style JRPG on the system.
Yeah.
Officially licensed and not stolen by AI. You can get the real Ghibli experience on your Switch.
And you don't have to make Miyazaki
you don't have to make him hate life.
Yeah, hate life.
Poor man. He just always seems he's sad.
So sad.
I loved. So I played a little bit of the first one. I loved the second one.
Really?
Ni no Kuni 2. There's one part where I was a little bit frustrated. You have to there's some town management stuff in there, which is fine. It's it doesn't seem like it's that important, but there's a part where you can't beat the game until you've gotten your town to a certain level. And I was like, I have to spend 2 hours just doing this.
Yeah.
Some of it's fun. It's reminds me of Dark Cloud.
Yeah, it's good. It's just I wish that I had spread it out over the game instead of my final 3 hours of the game being that and then the last boss.
I never beat the second one, but I bought the first game day one and I played the heck out of that because I was sold the second I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, Ghibli style, a JRPG, I was like, I don't care. I will play it.
You get to play in the second one. You get to play as the U.S. president and a little cat boy. It's the weirdest. It's the weirdest.
So that's amazing.
It's very strange.
Yeah, one of these I need to play it one of these days, but we'll see.
Yeah, but I think Bandai Namco, they're kind of the JRPG publisher that gets a little bit, I don't know, they're not as talked about, I would say, compared to some of the ones we talked about previously. But they have quite a catalog.
They do.
One Piece Odyssey, I think, was recently ported over the Switch with the DLC. I haven't played it on the Switch. I played it on the PS5, but it was a fun game for One Piece fans. Yeah. Especially.
I need to also play that.
You should.
I'm wondering.
I'm a huge One Piece fan, so like it's right up my alley.
This is a shot in the dark / projecting my will onto the universe. But if you guys noticed in the recent Nintendo Direct this past week, Bandai Namco looks like they're publishing some PlayStation IPs on the Switch. Like they've bought the IP or they have some kind of licensing agreement worked out with them.
Saying Bloodborne?
Well, Bloodborne would be,
no.
That would be amazing.
Sorry. Sorry for the Bloodborne fans out there.
Yeah, that's that wound is still very sore.
They just celebrated their 10th anniversary too.
It did.
I did not expect you to say Bloodborne and that. I don't know, but it wasn't that.
They're publishing Patapon, which was a Sony game.
Yeah.
There was another one.
There's Everybody's Golf.
Everybody's Golf.
Hot Shots.
They're publishing.
Hot Shots.
I wonder if there are other games / franchises that were part of that deal.
Probably.
Maybe Legend of Dragoon.
That'd be cool.
If Sony's not going to do anything with it, maybe they thought, well, let's fire sale this thing and get it over to Bandai Namco. Maybe they do something.
Maybe.
I'm just saying, now that they're publishing previous Sony properties, it's a possibility now, and that's exciting.
And there's supposedly cooking with some Nintendo stuff.
Oh yeah. Bandai Namco and Nintendo have a very tight relationship.
They better bring out what we want. We'll see.
Yeah. Cough, Xenosaga, cough.
Let's not get into that. That'll be a tangent and a half.
We'll save that for Wednesday. That's what's going to be on the live stream.
Exactly.
Wednesday when they announce that, and I die immediately.
Yes. Trigger warning. I will die on stream.
I can see more From Software stuff coming, honestly, on the Switch too.
Yeah.
They gotta.
Yeah.
From Bandai.
I'm excited to the potential. Bring us Dot Hack. Branden put in work and bought the series.
I bought the 4 original games.
Yeah,
spent all that stupid money.
Spent lots of money
just so that they would do that. Just so that they would be like, "Yeah, you thought you were going to be happy. You don't get to be happy,
no,
Branden.
No,
we're going to bring out this game and it's going to be so cheap.
I want them to
better in every way.
Exactly. I want them to bring it out in spite of Branden. So that's the goal.
I would be
feel
fine
like that
with
always
that now.
happens, right?
Yeah.
Whenever someone shells up money for one of those.
Exactly.
Master.
Plus, I just want it. I want it. I want to be able to play it through.
Right?
Yeah.
Put all the anime episodes on there too, so you don't have to have like 8 discs floating around.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah. It's such a good experience, and I feel like a lot of people are nostalgic to that right now, especially. So it's a good time to bring it out.
It is.
All right. Any other Bandai Namco ones we want to highlight, or should we just do our free for all?
We could do a free for all.
Okay, let's do that because there's so many other publishers that kind of dabble in JRPGs.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not their focus, but they've released a few on the system these past years.
I have a couple here that were put out by Fangamer.
Okay.
That I would like to talk about. 8-4 worked on one of them, and MP2. I don't know. Fangamer released them though. The first being Omori.
Oh yeah.
Love this game so much. So very, very good. Very Earthbound-esque. It's got a very Earthbound aesthetic, but let me put it this way. If they were to continue the Earthbound series, I would love it to be like this, because you have that really kind of simple, top-down 2D 16-bit JRPG thing going on for like overworld exploration. And then the battles are these super cool, like hand drawn. Every enemy is like meticulously hand drawn and animated and like crazy colors. And it feels like if Earthbound had continued, this is what Earthbound would have looked like. It's definitely, it's more overtly heavy thematically than Earthbound is. Earthbound, the series, is very heavy. Like, people think it's just a goofy, like, whimsical thing, and it is that, but it's also gets pretty heavy. This is a lot more just heavy on the nose. Like, it's very upfront with it. But it's such a good game, you guys. It's so cool. I love it so much. It's one of my favorites, and it's kind of off the beaten path. So maybe you haven't even heard of it. But it's great.
It's good to highlight for sure. Should we just do round robin of things? Dollar, do you want to go next?
Rob the Robin.
You guys can go ahead. I don't think I have anything physically right now.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to highlight some Koei Tecmo games because they have quite a number of JRPGs, but the one I think that works really well on the Switch is the Dusk trilogy for Atelier.
Oh, yes.
Because these were originally on the PS Vita, and so they run really well on the Switch. And if you get the English or Asian English version, that's available on Play Asia. This is all available on the cartridge. So there's no patches or downloads you have to do for this one, which is nice.
Good deal.
But the Atelier games are amazing. Like, we've talked about them. Yumiya just came out, which has
Loved
been
Yumiya.
a great game. And it's really interesting to see how far the Atelier franchise has evolved over the years. But some of the earlier ones are definitely worth playing, like the Dusk trilogy. This is during the time when they still have the time mechanic, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. So as someone who hates being, pressured under time, I still had a great time with these games.
I can say that people have told me, like, in comments on videos when I brought up the Atelier series, I've had more than one person say that I probably would like the Dusk series. Like, that should be the one I check out first if I'm going to go back and delve. So,
yeah.
They're great. Aisha, the first one, was my first ever Atelier game, and there is a little bit of a darker kind of spin to these games, but I think it's a great atmosphere and story. Like Aisha, she's all about trying to save her sister, and she goes around, and all the characters you meet and the things that you interact with, I thought was just a lot of fun. Eska and Logi here, it's the first time you could choose to play with a male protagonist in the Atelier games. So,
unless you count Iris.
So it's, I think, fun.
Sorry for throwing that brick wall up in your face.
I just like the
I just ignore it.
I know, it was great. I love
Iris is good though. It's good. It's like I'd like to see them do something. I'd like to see them do something.
That's something they need to bring
series.
back.
Yeah,
like if they reported those remastered, that'd be great. Because I don't see myself bringing out my PS2 anytime soon.
Oh yeah,
probably not.
No.
And some of them are expensive. Like, I know a couple of them got reprints. I've seen them like brand new on some websites, but they're still like $80. I'm like, I'm not shelling that much for
they're
a PS2
expensive.
game.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Yeah, I have the Iris trilogy. I've only played the first one. It's cool in a lot of ways. It's definitely feels like a very old school game though.
Oh yeah.
So I'd like to see some quality of life.
Which has its appeal, honestly. Like,
it can.
And I think it's great. We're seeing so many remasters. Like, maybe, sorry, instead of Rob, I'm just going to mention it. Like, we have the Lunar remasters coming out. We just had Suikoden.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Yep.
Like,
just name them all.
Like the golden age of remasters, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just so many remasters coming out. It's incredible. The fact that we're getting Lunar.
It's great. Yeah. It's
crazy.
Fantastic. My next one is the... if it was a Jeopardy question, it would be, this game is most likely to prompt the response in the comments of "This is not a JRPG" on a Branden video. What is Undertale? Undertale is just a fantastic, beautiful, like moving. I don't know, like it's another one of those that's kind of inspired by Earthbound. And he said, Toby Fox, who made the game, has said very openly that he was inspired by Earthbound. I think he got his start like making Earthbound mods and stuff. So it's clearly in that vein, but it's just a gorgeous throwback, and the gameplay it's very unique in terms of how it handles battles. You can choose to play a complete pacifist and never kill a single thing over the entire course of the game, which does make it more challenging because you do not level up. You will be fighting end game enemies at level 1 with no defense, and it's hard. But it is doable. Like my wife Jen is not a big gamer. She just recently did a pacifist run of Undertale on her own and was able to beat it. So it is doable, even if you're not like a hardcore gamer. But it was challenging. Like she had a hard time with some of the fights, but she persevered. To her credit,
she had it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's like a bullet hell. I realized I didn't explain it. It's, when you're being attacked by the enemy, you have to move a little icon around within the space and avoid obstacles being thrown at you. And yeah, it's just a really beautiful, moving game.
Yeah,
I love it.
Actually, I have an interesting one. Have you guys ever played the Fuga games? Melodies of Steel.
Melodies of Steel.
Yeah, so they have like 1 and 2.
3's coming out now.
3, yeah.
Yep. And physical too.
Exactly.
In Japan. But they should have English.
And I think it's made by CyberConnect too. So they did like Tail Concerto on the PS1.
Yeah.
If anyone remembers that. But this one is like extremely dark. I played the first game in the series, and it is like incredibly dark series of games. Like orphans turned into soldiers that like they don't shy away from killing characters off and making you have to choose between some characters too. So it's
difficult decisions.
Yeah, it makes you go through a lot of difficult decisions, but it plays so well, and like it gets you really into the characters in general and the story. And even the gameplay is very interesting. It kind of has you like, you're building up your team of like orphans. Yeah, it's basically that. You're building up this team, and like you're in this like tank, and like you're basically like you follow like a map, and you're like moving across this map, and you're deciding what direction you're going to go, what path you're going to go, and the consequences of each path of what the possibility of what you might go through depending on what path you go. So you have to make those like decisions and like make sure that are you strong enough to get through this certain path, or do you like risk it, doing a different way. So like it's a lot of really cool like takes.
There's a lot of like resource allocation to decisions, right?
Yeah.
I think that's why I was hesitant
game
to start it, because it's very different than your typical JRPG in that respect.
It's not easy you can make a lot of mistakes, and then you will sadly learn from those mistakes pretty rough in pretty rough ways. But I've always been intrigued by it. I love the art style, like the art look of it, like the way that's colored. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of like Valkyria Chronicles, kind of like almost like a sketch,
like
painterly style to it. But yeah, it's a goodie.
Speaking of more, I guess, animal type of RPGs, I really like Cat Quest.
Oh yeah,
we know you do.
We know you do, Emily.
I'm holding up the 1 and 2 pack. 3 came out last year. I still want to get that, which you could buy all bundled up on one cartridge with everything on the cart.
Yeah.
For all 3 games. Eventually I want to get that. But this is a great game, and especially for starting with 2, you could play it co-op. And so I recently beat that with a friend, and it's a lot of fun. It's your little hack and slash kind of action game, but you get to level up different abilities, and there's so many cat puns and dog puns. It's just a good time.
I did play the first one, and it was a good time.
It's cute, right?
Yeah,
it's cute.
It's adorable.
And each game kind of introduces a new kind of concept. In the 3rd game, you get to have your own little ship you go around. And
I saw like the little pirate cats
stuff
type looking
Basically,
things.
you get to be a pirate cat.
Yeah. My wife is intrigued by that one.
She'll like it. Tell her to get it.
We may be picking that up at some point here.
You should. And if no one else has another game,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I guess I will say from Capcom, we do have something that's in the Monster Hunter universe, but more of a JRPG experience with Monster Hunter Stories. And so I'm holding up Monster Hunter Stories 2 here. They last year they came out with the first one on the Switch, which was originally on the 3DS, and then I think went to mobile, and now is available physically on the Switch. You can get the 1 and 2 pack, but it doesn't come with 2 on the cartridge for the physical collectors out there. But this is a nice alternative to Pokemon if you're interested in the monster, capturing and battling sort of games. And this one actually has a pretty fun story.
Yeah.
So,
I've only played the first one on the 3DS, and it is really cool. Like, it's like, I was very surprised by it. I don't know why, but I just kind of expected that it would be kind of a cash-in kind of thing. It's like Monster Hunter's popular. Let's just do this cheap game and get it out. No, it's like, it's really high quality game.
A lot of like Pokemon-esque type of games. I'm always a little hesitant to try them. Like, how refined are the systems, or is this just, as you mentioned, kind of a cash grab in a way?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was impressed by it.
Yeah, I
love the sneaking into monsters' nests and stealing their babies.
Get little monsties.
Feels great. Fun. Feels great. Yeah. 2 was really fun too. I liked that. It was just a great game. So. I don't know if you guys, there's another one we can highlight, and that is Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus.
Yes,
and it finally came to the Switch last summer.
Exactly. And that's a good game. It's like, I think published by Falcom and Axis Games, I think.
Axis Games, published it. What's nice about the Switch version is that they redid the translations.
Yes. So it's the
there was some complaints about the original localization.
Yeah.
I recall reading about that. I played the original localization. I didn't notice anything super egregious when I played, but I guess it was a polish up at least that they did.
Yeah.
For the Switch.
I'm curious what changed exactly.
I am curious too.
Yeah. But those are it's a fun game. The original one was really fun. So, I mean, at some point I want to play this new version of it too. So, yeah.
Yeah, when I eventually replay it, it'll be on the Switch.
Exactly.
That version now. So.
Yep. Any other ones, you guys?
Should we maybe talk more about indie games?
Sure.
And some indie reps. Well, Sea of Stars was a big one that came out. I'm holding up the IM 8-bit version, but it does have a retail version out there. And this one, I think a lot of people are impressed by, right? That's saying it was the next big indie JRPG, because prior to that, I want to say a lot of JRPGs didn't gain that much attraction, or other than a couple of heavy hitters. I'm sure you guys will mention the other big heavy hitter that came out during the Switch era, but it was, again, it's nice to kind of just see more developers focusing on JRPGs in the indie scene and kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah, Sea of Stars in particular is really cool. Like Dalla and I started playing it together, because you can play the entire game co-op now. Like, that was something they added after release, so it is a patch. But like, it's such a cool. Like, it works really well as a multiplayer game for a turn-based JRPG. Like, to be able to play a multiplayer like that's really cool.
We had a ton of fun playing
there's not many games that let you do that.
And I love the aesthetic of the game. Like, the artwork is really just beautiful. The music is great.
Yeah, it's like a 32-bit. People always call it a 16-bit. It's like it's like too good for that. It's
a
like
bit more detailed.
It's like a 32-bit. I feel like it's like a 32-bit looking game.
It reminds me of like a PS1 RPG.
Yeah, like if you had like Breath of Fire 4 or something, or like that kind of level of sprite work. But it's it's beautiful. It's fantastic game.
Yeah, beautiful game. I mean, the other big RPG, which we haven't seen it fully released,
still hasn't come out physically yet.
I think some people might have. Yeah, you can get it digitally.
Some people have gotten it physically.
Some people have gotten it physically, but not everybody. And that's still like a whole black box of what's going on with that. But Chained Echoes, we've talked about it previously. It's a great game. It's got like Xenogears kind of. I guess aesthetics, or like I think there's some influence in there from Xenogears, influence from like a lot of different games, but it does like its own thing, and it's incredible because like it is more or less developed by or created by one person with like some help from other in the process, but it's what they were able to create in that period of time, and just by themselves is pretty amazing. Great story. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect game, but for what it does well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And another NT I really enjoyed on the Switch was Animutationum, which physically, I think, does it have a retail now? Or it has like an Asian English that's now widely available, because my copy it's limited run games.
I was going to say, I think mine is limited run, but I have it on PS5.
But I think within the past year, there's been an Asian English release. So it's more widely accessible.
Yeah. That's a great game too. Yeah. I love that game.
And has those sci-fi elements and cyberpunk elements that
it's like a side-scrolling kind of side-scrolling action RPG. When you're not in combat, you'll run around in more 3D environments, and then the combat sequences are the 2D, and it's super fun. The story is really cool. The characters are interesting. Yeah. I hope that they do more. They felt like they left it open to be able to do more. I really hope that they do.
I think they will. I think it did pretty well, but I don't know how to gauge that.
Yeah, I don't know.
In the indie scene.
That's true. Yeah, it's hard to gauge. Any more, you guys?
I think maybe Brandon's played some of the other indie games that maybe got physicals on limited run games, but not elsewhere, which we're not just limiting this to physical games, of course.
Right.
Like, was it Rise of the Third Power and
RFL.
RFL, yes.
RFL is a really, really cool game. 2D, hand-drawn sprites kind of thing. And, beautiful music, and the story is really cool and pretty unique. I like that. That's one of the things I like about these games being made in the indie scene is they seem like they use a lot of the aesthetics and trappings of the Japanese, actually Japanese-made JRPGs, but they are not as beholden to the tropes that you see in like so many anime-esque JRPGs. So you get a lot of different feeling stories, and I think RFL fits into that. I have not played Rise of the Third Power yet, which is the next game from that studio. I have it's on the same cart as RFL.
Yes.
And people have they've said, like, if you like RFL, you will like Rise of the Third Power even more. Like, it's even better. So I'm going to pick that one up one of these. I'm going to get into it one of these days.
One of these days.
There's just so many JRPGs on the system. I feel like it would take a lifetime to play them.
Yeah, you're not going to get through them all. You got to be choosy.
I know.
Then that's why we're here, is to help you choosy the best ones.
Choosy the best. Yes, that's how you say it.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we went through a lot of games.
Oh my God. Yeah.
There's too many games.
But we would love to hear from you guys if there's anything we missed out mentioning that was maybe one of your favorites on the Switch, or any that we shared today that resonated with you as being one of your favorites for one reason or the other.
Yeah. Let us know your thoughts. Be sure to tell Emily why she's wrong for hating Three Houses, because as you recall, she said that she hated it.
Yeah. It wasn't
we were
Branden.
both like, whoa, Emily. And that memory is firmly implanted in all your minds now, right?
Exactly.
So please go easy on her, guys. Okay. But no, definitely let us know for real your thoughts, where you agree, where you disagree. We are interested to hear. And I think at the end of the day, we can all agree this system has way too many really good JRPGs.
It was a JRPG machine. So we're all just blessed to have the options.
Continue to the Switch 2.
Exactly. Yeah. So here's to more.
Here's to more.
Cheers.
And more remasters.
And more remasters.
More remasters.
I'll take it.
Forever. Yes. Yeah, that's fine. Forever. That's great. Yeah.
I'll be happy, honestly.
Yeah.
Why not?
There's so many games I missed in the past, so it's nice to have them more accessible.
Exactly. Accessibility is the best. But yeah, thank you.
And add in some quality of life features. Just stick on the top.
Sure.
Exactly. Yeah. But thanks,
that
everyone.
Should be it for now. And we'll be live streaming the Switch 2. If you didn't catch our live stream for the next Nintendo Direct. And we will also be at Midwest Gaming Classic this weekend. I'm doing a little bonus stage panel. So if you're going to be in the area, be sure to say hi.
I forget what time is it. It's
3:30?
I believe it's at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, 3:30 Central. So
3:30 Central.
So if you're in the area, in the Milwaukee area, you happen to find yourself at Midwest Gaming Classic, come check us out. Come say hi.
Wait, hang on. I want to confirm. You said it's for sure at 3:30?
Wait, let me see. Someone it is, yes, Saturday 3:30 p.m. Yep.
Okay.
So yes.
I just need to know when I need to show up, when I got to roll out of bed hungover, And I got to at least be up by 3:20 so I can
we'll be busy
make my way
game
downstairs.
Hunting. So we just want to make sure
we'll be around the show floor.
Yeah. We'll be walking around. So if you see us, come say hi. We'll love to see you guys. So
love to chat.
Love to chat.
For sure. So I guess hopefully you'll tune into the live stream if you're awake for the Nintendo event this week. You're going to be hearing this.
This will be airing
after
while
that has already happened. It's coming out at the while in the middle of it.
Hopefully you're watching this and you just finished watching our live stream. You just
finished watching the live stream with us and having a good time.
Right.
So hopefully, we're all happy. Hopefully we're all sitting here.
We all had a great time.
Eating
I can say probably we all had a great time. So, yeah.
Hopefully there's no disappointments.
Hopefully there's some cool releases. We'll see.
Announcements.
I'm sure we're going to be, happy with what.
Some of them might be a ways down the road, but I'm excited to see what is coming.
Exactly. Xenosaga.
For sure.
Xenosaga. Please. Xenosaga, please.
Anyways.
But yeah, if you are a member, we will at the Pursuer level, we will have our after show.
Yep.
I'll be up and running very shortly. And we will see you guys again next week.
Take care, everyone.
So we'll have hopefully some fun stories to share.
We will.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.